rats and stuff. Not one text to me this whole
time.
You're right.
Isn't that mean?
No, hey, you're right. I am sorry.
And
before you were born.
I know.
Live.
I know.
Oh my gosh. I made the mistake of having 2 sports nerds on this today, and
We're not talking sports.
I deeply apologize to every one of our viewers out there. Wrong kind of nerdy shit. Stuff.
We're live. You can't fix that. That means I get to throw one too, right?
I love the fact that you just referred to sports as nerdy. I love that you did that. I actually like that.
Explain to me
like
how dressing up as your favorite athlete and getting so invested in the game that you're willing to follow their entire season to the detail while dressed as said player isn't sports cosplay.
I absolutely agree with everything you're saying.
I don't think
I 100% agree with you. I think that I have no problem with people saying that sports geeks, sports nerds are also nerds.
we call them analysts.
I don't disagree.
I mean, it is kind of the same thing.
People
as,
who want to sit
keeping
there
track of the entire Star Wars lore and figure out what is canon.
No, that shit's super nerdy.
Really?
Yes.
And fantasy sports.
Oh, you're just as nerdy.
Oh, but I can make money off of that.
You can make money off of Star Wars and all that stuff. In fact, I bet you can make more money off of Star Wars than you can off of Mike.
Thank you guys for joining us. If you've actually jumped on and stuck around,
No, we lost them all already.
well, we are actually talking about
Can you
today.
do something on this about my double chin? Is there something you can superimpose later to like?
Just keep the chin up.
You could just grow.
Good.
You could just grow a beard.
Well, that's your trick. It's smart man.
So what we are actually
Exactly
talking
what I
about today, guys, is horror movies, specifically slasher films. We did it before. We're doing it again this year. We're talking about exactly.
Is that motion child approach? Oh, there we go. Okay, I thought you were doing something totally different.
I was doing it.
What are the top 10 slasher films of all time, building up to the best slasher film of all time? We have our list of 10. We're going to rank them for you as we go, and hopefully we won't have too many tangents.
Oh, we're going to be.
I say
on
hopefully
tangents left and
because
right.
but when these two are together, that's tough, but we'll see.
I'm gonna be on point today. I don't know about this guy.
By the way, did you introduce?
I didn't even introduce
They
us.
know me. I'm an old friend. Introduce yourself.
So,
That's true.
in case this is your first time watching,
You guys
hi,
know.
I'm Brad, that's Mike, and we are Dallas Geek. Today we have our friend David.
Oh.
We have our first racist comment of the
hey, I
glad
always-
that was quiet. That didn't take very long.
I always have to throw one at you.
Brad,
Remember, guys,
Farrakhan,
I can't edit. I can't edit a thing on this.
Farrakhan / David Duke over here.
Easy.
Dear Lord.
That's gonna go way over our audience's head.
Which one?
Yes.
Anyway, we
No, so
It's an honor. It's an honor to be on.
So I guess this is part 2 because last year around this time we had you on for our
This is part 3.
specifically
horror
horror.
Part 2 for horror. But this is my third time on the pod.
Right.
there you go.
This is lucky number 3.
Last year it was the top 10 horror directors, and then we all picked a movie, and then we
Right.
all argued them for like an hour and a half.
right? And
which-
before that was Spielberg.
After that was Spielberg.
Oh, after that was Spielberg.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So we're going back to horror this time, since you're a big fan of horror, I'm a big fan of horror, he's a big fan of horror, and it is around Halloween.
Can we get him to enunciate a little better?
Yes.
No.
We're not talking about
There are
Pretty
2
Woman
R's.
here.
There are 2 R's in the 2 sets of R's.
We're talking about horror, not the nice women who work the streets that Mike pays.
Hey, they gotta pay the bill somehow.
Yes.
Moving on.
Remember,
The old horizontal
family-friendly
mambo.
people. Family-friendly.
That's true. PG,
So,
Mike. PG.
whatever.
Even the Pretty Woman technically is PG.
Yeah. Isn't that a joke?
Yeah.
So's
Why do
Jaws.
we contribute?
So's
Why do we
Jaws.
contribute to these guys? Anyway, so
As you can tell, the MPAA has been overhauled a little bit over the years. Yeah.
By the way, can I do a quick shout out and say this is the first pod I've been on with them since Brad had a baby, and this is a pretty.
Stop bringing that up.
No, this guy looks pretty darn good for someone who deals with a 6-month-old. I just want to say that. What's your excuse? I have no excuse. I don't have kids either. Look at me, for God's sake. He's holding up well.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you.
So I should just go kill myself then, is what you're saying.
That's pretty dark. This is a family-friendly show.
But it's Halloween.
Not yet. Almost.
That's true.
So,
Yes, in the spirit of Halloween.
with this, if this is your first time watching us, normally we're much more organized than this.
No, we're not.
A bit more organized than this.
No, we're not.
Thanks to the magic of editing.
Ah, there we go.
You were talking about tangents?
Have you guys seen my soapbox? I can't find it anywhere.
But if you've never seen our stuff before, thank you for joining us. You can always come back and see new videos of ours every Tuesday and Friday. We do live streams Saturdays or Sundays, depending on how we're feeling that month. And we cover a whole range of nerdy topics. If you don't have time to watch our videos, we have the audio out on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or I guess technically it's just called iHeart these days.
Whatever.
Branding, whatever. Google Play, and Stitcher, because of course.
Tinder?
No.
Bumble?
Maybe
Grindr?
Definitely.
Yeah.
No.
Wait, what?
But, yeah, you can find us pretty much anywhere and everywhere. So definitely be sure to check out more of our stuff after we're done. Please don't leave. Even if you want to go watch one of our videos, please don't leave this to go watch one of our other videos because, you know, we have stuff to say. And David, because you guys went off one of your tangents in the middle of introducing him, he is our friend from the podcast The Last Call.
Very good.
Here in Dallas. They talk about sports, the other nerdy thing.
We also do some pop culture and doc talk. If you're ever into documentaries, Mike's been a guest on that. One day I am going to get Brad and Mike together on the show, and we will talk about something. We will actually keep it away from the sports nerdiness and add something in because he controls him, and that helps me.
Nobody can.
I kind of control.
Well, you know,
You
we
really do.
I'm at least allowed to smack him upside
Well, you
the head.
know,
if he moves too far.
we do have a pop culture event coming up here in December, so maybe we can be on for that.
Oh, I like it.
Are you really giving me that look when the final? Go.
By the way,
Oh, I really
like-
had to bite my tongue for that.
Brad, and I'd like to point out something. I don't know if Mike has
Oh,
ever
gosh.
told Brad this, but you will be appreciative of this. Do you know that I probably am Mike's friend with the most pops?
Hmm?
It's a real problem.
He has more pops than I do.
A real problem. Do you want me to pull up how
How
many
is that
pops I
humanly
have?
possible?
You guys talk amongst yourselves. Just for a moment.
No.
And I want everyone to get Brad's reaction when I show him the number of pops I have. He's still on.
There.
Yeah. He's focused.
I realized that we were a little fuzzy. Sorry about that, guys.
When this pulls up, you're going to get Brad's reaction.
Yeah, Brad.
Anyway,
He's not gonna know what
the,
to do.
The small
What we're talking
small
about-
pop culture event of Star Wars coming out. I'm sorry, the final Star Wars.
What we are talking about today, slasher films.
Get over there.
I forgot to put my phone on silent. It's a thing.
Mine's on that.
You're Superman. Mine's always on silent. Hi, honey.
So,
That's not a typo.
you have a problem, sir.
A big.
You have a problem.
Is your amount over 300?
No, I'm at like.
Nope, you lose.
No, I know he has more. I'm saying I have more than you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Five
No, I have.
It's a major problem.
100, sir.
No, I have like about.
And I want to point something out to you. I don't have any Marvel ones. How about that one for you? So just think of all the other
I
ones
feel
I
bad
have.
for you.
175.
I mean, you can feel bad for me. I don't feel too bad
Anyway,
for myself.
to get back on track, because we are already how many minutes in?
God, do I want to know?
Enough.
We're staying on point now, boys. Yeah, you
We
got it right
are-
there. 10?
We're 10 minutes in.
All right,
Oh,
we gotta go. We gotta go.
Thank
We gotta
you.
move.
This
Thank you,
delusion
Kyla.
would say 10.
So, our going through the definitive top 10 slasher films of all time.
And these are just our opinions.
No,
So
they're not.
we don't
This
need-
is
This is scientific fact.
Anybody that disagrees with us is just wrong.
And can go to
you
hell.
Can tell them that we said so.
Oh.
I was trying to be democratic.
No.
Go
On
ahead,
this
Mike.
show?
Not in this
On this show,
dictatorship.
they're-
No,
okay.
sir.
So, let's go ahead and start with.
Let's go to the big board.
Now, wait, hang on. Before we continue,
Yes.
we all shared our list.
Yes. Oh,
We all
yeah.
compiled a definitive top 10. Each of us had movies left off the top 10
Yes.
that were on
Some
our
of
list.
our
more
things
bitter than
were
others.
left off because certain people haven't seen some of the great slasher films of all time. Just want to throw that out there. Had you seen all the ones that I picked?
Almost.
Almost.
Silent-
Not always.
Oh wait, I'm
almost.
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Wait, I have to
Silent Night.
eat shit for an hour because
I haven't seen.
I haven't
Silent
seen them
Night.
all, and he gets a pass.
I haven't seen Silent Night, and I've only seen
Wow.
part Candyman.
You haven't seen Candyman?
What?
Part of Candyman.
Oh my God!
Now, who are you more mad at right now?
Still you haven't seen Godfather Part 2.
Ah.
That's worse. That is actually worse. You have to admit that is
Anyway.
worse, Mike. But I am mad at him right now.
Anyway,
Why the hell do I keep inviting him to do things?
that's a good question.
You don't have a lot of friends.
Anyway, to try desperately to get back on track.
Yes.
So we put together our compiled top 10, and now we're going to go through and rank them in random. Well, we'll randomly start ranking them in proper order, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So
We'll randomly select a movie and then we'll place it in the top
There it
10 where we
is.
think it belongs.
So
Do we want to do honorable mentions?
Yes.
we will.
Depending on the time.
We'll talk honorable mentions before we hit the last movie on the list.
It's a
Okay.
great
So,
idea.
first movie we're going to hit up is the original Friday the 13th. Where do we feel it should go and why? Gentlemen, your arguments.
Guests first.
I'll be perfectly honest. I think if I could do an overrated movie list, Friday the 13th probably would be way up there.
It's funny because we talked about doing an overrated, underrated.
Yes,
list.
but here's what I will say about Friday the 13th. I'll make it very short and sweet. You can identify a genre like slasher without including an iconic character like Jason, and especially something that inspired so many other sequels. However, my issue with the original Friday the 13th is what? That Jason's
Not the killer.
not the killer.
There we go.
So the
was-
question becomes...
I was about to punch you
It
after
is-
saying that.
Well, that's why when I put in...
Spoiler alert, by the way. Sorry.
No. No. When you said, yeah, Friday the 13th and Jason, I was like,
I was getting there. You just had to wait for a second. So my issue is it inspires that Jason is in it, but not the Jason that we come accustomed to.
Right.
But because that inspires everything, and because the second one is such a horrible film, and pretty much almost everyone after
Well, and
that.
that's the thing. That's why when I submitted my list, I specifically put in part 1 and 2
Right.
because while part 1 was better, Friday the 13th part 2 is what introduced Jason and the whole continuation of the franchise.
Right, you have to give credit to the original thing.
Yes.
I mean, you just do. You can't not. And I actually continue to believe that the entire Friday the 13th series is a really big pile of doggy doo-doo.
Yeah.
But it's become iconic and everything, and therefore even I had that on my list.
Really? Even the one where Jason goes off into
Space? Yep, that's right up there with your Leprechaun in Space.
Jesus.
Or
That
Leprechaun
is-
in the Hood.
Yes.
And I love, by the way, and a very underrated performance by his mother. It's a great performance of the first one, Jason's mother, who is the main character. She was awesome.
That was going to be what I was going to say. You've got the twist that Mrs. Voorhees is actually the killer. Again, spoilers. Sorry if you guys are 45 to 50 years late.
I'm like Godfather.
Thanks, dick.
I can't edit.
That's fine. I don't care.
God, always with the cursing.
That's fine. It'll fall on you.
Potty mouth. Do you have a swear jar on the show?
No.
I wish.
No.
Wouldn't that be great if every time Mike had a swear, he had to put in like something to charity? That would be so amazing. That's a great idea.
I donate to charity already.
But this would definitely enhance that.
I think we may actually have to look into this.
I would
I
love-
like this
I would
idea.
love a Dallas Geek swear jar.
I
The
like
Mike
this
swear
idea.
jar, and you can get like a giant Boba Fett or something with like I have a Stay Puft, but you could get like something like that, like an Iron Man. Go ahead, continue. See, I'm giving you good ideas here.
I love
I don't know, since I've was filibustered out.
You're
of my
talking
mind.
about Mrs. Voorhees.
Yes, the twist that Mrs. Voorhees was the killer was something that we hadn't seen in horror movies up to that point.
Right.
The other thing that I really like about it, I think it's iconic for the first-person viewpoint kills. You're seeing the kills through the eyes of the killer. They're all
but that
acting
wasn't
like,
the first time.
No, but
it was one of the first times that it was so widely featured in a prominent movie.
Because I think there's only a handful of those kills.
Was it though?
Well, there's only a handful of those kills that it was.
It's still copied off of something else.
But
that may or may not be on this list.
Oh, it'll be on this
You
list.
want to talk about being overrated, though?
You are not. We're not. I hope we're not talking about the same film.
Yeah,
I will have Mike punch you
absolutely
because
are.
I would never punch you.
If you're thinking about what I think,
If he's thinking what we're thinking, we're gonna have a major problem.
Oh, we're gonna have a major problem.
I am, and yeah.
No way.
But
We'll get to that. That's gonna hurt me.
To wrap up on Friday the 13th, too, it also does still have one of the most iconic kills of any slasher. Kevin Bacon taking the arrow through the throat from the bottom of the bed. That's still like one of the best ever.
Did you say part 2? Is that what you just said, Kevin Bacon?
No, taking the arrow.
No, I got it. I thought you said
the
for Friday the 13th part 2.
I don't think so.
No, okay.
This one.
I may be hearing things.
But yeah, it's.
No, it's awesome.
I mean,
but like you said,
old
it's,
age does affect the elderly.
That's true.
That's
true.
Okay, so.
But like you said, it's not a strong entry. Like it's not one of those that I'm like, I have to definitively watch
But
it.
it has to be on.
It has to be on.
If you're gonna be ranking definitive slasher films, it has to be there.
So are we ranking?
Yeah.
Okay, so for me,
So where would you
of the top
find
10? 10.
Really?
I would say no higher.
Considering the other movies that are that we're gonna be picking from, you don't find any of the rest of them lower?
No. I would
Really?
not. Well, here's my issue. You have put a couple films on here that I don't really totally agree with, but that's okay. But I still like those films so much more
Yeah.
than Friday the 13th.
Dude, I have to agree.
That I would not put it, of the list you're showing me, I would definitely not put it above 10.
I can't see it going higher than 9 for me.
And what about you? Where do you stand?
I agree with Tim.
All right! Look at that, it was so easy. We're off and running. Just give me one, Mike, give me one.
I ain't questioning you because I disagreed with it. I just wanted to make sure that you are absolutely sure about
Hey, no,
that.
I was absolutely
no, I
sure.
agree.
So I just want to point out real
I'm
quick,
proud of you boys.
this will be the only time we probably agree on it.
Not necessarily. May surprise you more.
Oh no, I know
more.
that there are definitely gonna be a couple that.
Well, if you continue to go on the path you were going, this may only be a 2-man show by the end.
All right, what's the next film, Brad?
Next up, you want to talk
It's in the
about
car. Don't worry.
classic horror films? We're going up with the next one, Nightmare on Elm Street,
Oof.
the original. How does that rank for y'all?
Like, do you want us to actually rank it now, or do you want us to just? Because like this.
Give your justification,
God,
and then we'll
Jesus.
give ranking.
So this movie was so creepy when I was a kid because it's literally like, oh, like you're in bed, you're asleep, you're supposed to be safe. That's the one place where you're supposed to feel safe, where you lay your head down and you shut up. Dude, and it's literally like this guy gets you in your dreams, and that's the only place that he can get you. That is one of the screwiest, most terrifying thoughts that like has ever been imagined, and of course it was Wes Craven.
Of course it was.
Absolutely.
Who else could?
And isn't it
Who will pop
interesting?
up on this list again?
Yes, isn't it interesting? And I think that's a discussion to have too, which is, I mean, I don't see how you could say Craven is not the #1 director when it comes to slasher movies. I'd have to give him that credit.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to raise your hand. You can just blow that.
Oh,
but I appreciate it. That's very sweet.
Yeah.
That was.
Sorry.
He's learning.
I have my moment.
Yeah.
Attempting manners.
It's
He's attempting manners.
a toss-up for me.
Between who and who?
You know who I would.
Between my boy Carpenter? Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I could argue with you that even Wes Craven's feature film, which was Last House on the Left, which was such a brutal thing, in many ways that's almost slasher at times. Like, it's kind of interesting, like, and he was doing that in the woods way before Friday the 13th or all these other things. Craven is the master of that. I also don't think that Carpenter, I don't think you could say how many slasher films did he really create.
Carpenter?
Yeah, how many did he really do? I mean, you're not going to the Fog slash. You're not going to sit there.
I mean, he did plenty of horror movies.
Horror, but not
slasher.
Okay,
slasher.
so then let me. I'll give Craven slasher, but I think the definitive horror director is Carpenter.
Oh, horror, but you're not talking about horror. You're talking about slashers. I have no
which
problem with that.
I'll give you Wes Craven for
Stay
slashers.
Stay on
right.
point.
You're right. My apologies.
So are you ranking it?
It's got to be top 5. It has to be.
Yeah.
For me on this list, it has to be because we have another one on this list that's gonna.
I'd call it number 4, honestly, because I think it set enough precedent for the slasher genre that still holds up, but at the same time, there's enough of it that is cheesy by modern standards that I can't put it in the top.
And you guys, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it really kind of one of the first big-time supernatural-based slashers?
It definitely...
Where it kind of mixed the supernatural
Without
and the
a doubt.
slasher.
Without a doubt. It wasn't just your traditional just guy walking around killing people or hiding behind things.
It hit a very specific part of the social consciousness and pop culture that I don't think any other movie could have when it came out, and still hits that same beat every year since in the same way for anybody that's never seen it before.
Right.
While all the rest of these movies show their age after a certain point, Nightmare on Elm Street has a certain something about it that if you've never seen it before, if you've never seen any of the spin-offs or parodies or anything that has fallen in that specific subgenre of slasher, it will continue to hit you in the same way today as it did when it first came out.
And anytime, again, I stick by this, and we talked about this with our horror films on the pod before when we had done this, I remember with you guys, anytime you create an iconic character that has now been duplicated, parodied, they tried to do other things with, Robert Englund.
When that character became a parody?
Exactly. Literally a caricature of itself. I'm with you. I love number 4. That's where I would put this looking over our list. It would be a 4 for me.
Of all the horror characters out there, Freddy Krueger is such an iconic one.
Yep.
The character alone really pushes the ranking of the movie because you just can't help but love him as a villain.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I think.
And can we take it in a step forward?
Really good.
This was the first one. This is before he got cheesy. Before it was like, let's just go make money. This is like with all the silly and
What do you mean cheesy, bitch?
Yeah, exactly. Like the stupid lines. It was scary. It made you afraid to go to sleep at night. Like, this is before it just became corny, cheesy, ridiculous.
Do you have something to wipe this off with over there?
When you have a mainstream cartoon introduce.
I just made a comment on your live stream about it because I didn't know if I should just jump in with comments.
No, you're fine.
That's okay.
When Mike will pick you up, or the Mike will pick you up.
Yeah. So when you have a mainstream pop culture phenomenon like Rick and Morty, introduce a parody of the character named Scary Terry.
I wish I could understand what you're talking about, but I'll just agree with whatever you say. I've never seen Rick or Morty.
So the whole bit is that they go into a dream state.
Okay.
To incept his math teacher, Morty.
Okay.
To give Morty's math teacher. To
Rick
give him
is the student?
No, Rick is his grandpa. Morty's the kid.
Okay.
So Rick and Morty is a parody of.
Oh no, I've seen these characters,
Terry.
but I don't know what they are.
So Rick and Morty is an adult parody of Back to the Future. If Doc Brown was the drunk drunk grandfather, and Morty was the really, really dumb grandson.
But the whole bit is that
he was forced to go on all these crazy adventures.
Okay.
So the whole bit is that they're trying to incept his math teacher, Morty's math teacher, to give him grades so he can go on more adventures. And they go so deep in that they go to a level of his subconscious where Scary Terry awaits. And they start running, and Morty asks him, what the hell is that? And Rick's reply is, it's a copyright-friendly knockoff of an 80s horror icon.
I got it.
With tiny swords for fingers instead of
That's
knives.
funny. Okay, cool.
Like when your character is to that level 40 years after the movie has come out.
That's pretty awesome. All right, so that's
you have to.
And by the way, to be able to see the parody of Freddy Krueger decapitate the parody of the little girls from The Shining
Shining.
Yep.
is one of the best things
That's a good
I think
one,
has
too.
ever been on TV.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
I was also going to say that, like, even in a modern game like Dead by Daylight has a character for Freddy Krueger to play as him.
Oh, yeah.
Still.
So, next up, we're going to stick with the line of the classics and go with the original Halloween. How do we feel? Where should it go?
Number 1.
Really?
Yes. Without a doubt. Number 1. It is the godfather of slashers.
There's another one on this list, which is the only one that I would consider overtaking this. But for me, this is what created the slasher genre. You talk about seeing it from the killer's eyes, all that stuff, that is Halloween. The music being in many times the villain itself. So every time you hear that music, you cannot tell me that, it doesn't inspire everything. I mean, again, any film that when you think of a holiday, the first one or two things that comes to your mind is a horror film. Like, that is crazy to think about.
Yep.
Like, nobody was scared about Halloween before that film came
Michael
out.
Myers
The
came out.
origins of Halloween, and my brother would sit here and tell you his favorite holiday is dark, disturbing, pagan rituals, all the things you could talk about, and the fact that all that it came to was kids and candy and dressing up in costumes and having fun, and John Carpenter takes that whole premise, turns it on its head. Basically, it's a commentary, as most of his stuff is, a political and social commentary of parents leave their kids to go out to parties and in the night or do whatever, and who does Carpenter go after? The teenagers, the babysitters, the people that, and it's such a commentary. It creates everything. I don't know how you could rate anything above that if we're talking about slasher films.
Set in small-town suburban America.
Main Street, USA.
Nobody locks their houses at night because everybody feels safe.
So
And
Not
a
anymore.
kid literally, no shit. But literally,
Once again, we really need
yeah,
this.
sorry. Yeah, whatever. But literally, the terrifying thought of like a 6-year-old kid just for no reason snapping and killing his sister.
Yep.
And then being locked away for years and then coming back. Like
It's
no
amazing.
motivation,
No
no
motivation.
supernatural powers,
Nope.
none
Just-
of that. Literally just a dude that went from 0 to 100 for no reason whatsoever.
And can we please talk about the idea of the boogeyman?
Yep.
I mean, like
Was
that
the-
whole premise.
Was that the boogeyman?
It's so,
As a
and it's
matter of fact,
psychology,
yeah,
it's
I
like,
believe it was.
and exactly, there's no motive. That's
No.
what makes the original Halloween so great. There is no motive. This
And we're
dude
gonna-
is just a killing machine. He's just evil.
And we're going to talk about that when we get to the honorable mentions.
Okay.
But that's part of what made the reboot so good.
Because I gave a motivation? Really?
No.
We can talk about
Rob
it.
Zombie tried to give him a
Oh, yeah.
motivation.
We can
And that was
talk.
dog
We can
crap.
talk
Oh, I know.
about it when we get there. But
Yeah.
yeah, for me, I don't see how. And are you? Is this where you're about to become like go lower on my run?
Yes.
Because that's what you were referring to when we first began.
The score.
Is this what you're about to talk about in overrated?
Actually, no. I think that.
Oh, this wasn't what you were going to talk about.
No.
Oh, thank God! I like him again. Oh, I thought that's what we were on a totally
Yes,
different wavelength.
yeah.
You knew where?
Yep.
Was that what you thought too?
Halloween,
Oh,
absolutely.
we thought that's what you were talking about.
When I said the first person perspective of the kill, and he
Yeah,
said,
and you
well,
said there's
no.
something else on our list that I think should be.
Yeah, there's an older movie on our list.
Okay, now I know where you're going.
Okay.
Now I know where you're
Okay.
going. We're all good. We're all good.
And every
Yeah,
one
my
of-
mind immediately.
I
went
knew
to-
I'd still
and
love
not just
Brad.
that movie, every one of his movies I consider to be overrated. Cinematically, I understand why they're considered great, but
Did you just say John
Oh,
Carpenter's movies are
no, he's
overrated?
not talking about Carpenter. Get
Oh,
off of
okay,
it.
okay,
Oh my
okay,
God,
okay,
we
okay,
can't.
okay.
Hitchcock.
Oh,
Got
no,
it.
okay, okay. Can we stick with Halloween?
Okay,
Where are you?
got it,
Okay,
got
come
it,
back,
got it,
come back.
okay.
Now he is going lower on the run. But at least
My
it wasn't
gosh.
Halloween. I don't have a problem. If it had been Halloween, we would
so
have a problem.
Halloween is a movie that, while I personally don't find it terrifying, I completely understand why it is seen as terrifying by so many people, and I think Halloween is a fantastic example of what a slasher should be, because it's scary for the right reasons. So many modern horror movies, so many modern slasher films especially, rely so heavily on the jump scares.
Yes.
And this movie while it has jump scares, it's for a very specific reason, and always to throw you off from what you would expect the jump scare to be for.
Yep.
And B, it doesn't overuse them.
And can we talk about the fact that
it really uses the suspense and lets you have to wait and let the movie breathe, and you are forced to appreciate what is being set up and not some trick of the camera that a less talented director would put in there.
And what does it not do that so many, including Friday the 13th and so many parodies afterwards did? They relied on gore. They relied on all gruesome
Which
stuff.
you don't see a lot
and
of,
you don't see
surprisingly.
almost at all in Halloween. It's
is-
more genius stuff, and it's shot on.
4 kills, right?
And it's shot on.
4 kills.
Ah,
5
you're
kills?
forgetting about a kill. This also goes to why John Carpenter's a great director. You know my crazy theory.
The dog.
Yes, the fact that he kills the dog.
But you don't.
He got hungry.
Yeah. But you don't.
I love that.
But even then, even the deaths that you see on screen or the aftermath later, you don't see it in a way that visually offends you.
And let's talk about
Like-
the shoestring budget.
Oh,
no
God.
money.
What was it like 300,000?
No,
If
it was
that?
less. I thought it was 30,000 if I remembered right. It was something
I thought it was in the
outrageous.
I thought it was in the 6.
And no, I don't think so. And he shoots it, of all places, he turns Pasadena, California into this Midwestern place, and it's unfreaking believable. Like, it's all done through amazing shots,
Yeah.
creative stuff of the guy you see his feet go into the air, his legs go up. Like, it's so amazing.
Like even on top of that too, like you said, letting the suspense build. Like the scenes where there's no noise, there's no music, but you hear him breathing.
Oh,
He's in the
The
room
sound
with
design,
somewhere.
the sound
Oh,
design
great.
of this movie
And then he like
is
pops up from
so
behind the couch.
amazing.
Or what I still think is one of the most iconic scenes where she slinks up against the wall and slinks down, and you just see his white mask and the completely
there's
blacked
so much
out
lighting.
let's go.
Every movie that has ever gotten mass recognition, it is so easy to be able to toss out there that, oh, the cinematography was fantastic, the director was fantastic, oh, yeah, no, the cameras, the visuals, the whatever. What is so easily overlooked, but in this in Halloween was so
And
massive, was the sound
pacing
design.
and the
The
pacing.
sound design, to know how to do that right to the level that this movie does it,
Oh.
takes a kind of talent that you don't see very often. Like, that was impressive.
So the budget was $320,000
Got it.
with only given 20 days to shoot.
That's
20
what-
days to
Oh,
shoot, 3 weeks to
okay.
shoot.
Okay.
And at the time, it was the most successful independent film ever.
Because it was 100.
Wasn't released by a major motion picture and a studio, and also the pacing that we were just talking about. I mean, where else did you see this idea of the killer who walks slowly? Like, you're literally sitting there like, wait a minute, the shot of him going across the street, and he's just this methodical walk.
Or when they're walking and she sees him next to the bushes.
Oh,
and then
it
her
comes
friend
out of
looks
the
and he's
side,
gone.
and
Can't
like,
do shaky cam on that, can ya?
And then would you like to guess how much they spent on the original mask?
well, then there's the pop
Pop
culture. Who was it designed after?
Shatner.
How great is that?
Oh, yeah.
He designed that. William Shatner, Captain Kirk, is the scariest face in the world.
$2?
$2 in the original mask.
Oh, they made that
That
back
is awesome.
pretty
Yeah, all right,
quickly.
put it at number 1 and let's go.
I'm okay with this. All right.
Dun, 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 dun. That was one of the first things I learned how to play on my
What
piano.
we can
he
still
was
be
saying
friends,
was that
so.
he spent some time like messing around on a piano. He said he played an octave in 5/4 time. And so he was like, oh, I kind of like this for a horror thing. So when he actually started shooting Halloween, he was like, yeah, I'm using it
And
for
how
this.
freaky is that? And again, like, is there any other holiday that you just say the name and that's what you think about?
Exactly.
God.
Also, and this is one point that I'm just going to leave this on. I don't think there is really any other horror movie that is so directly tied and immediately reminiscent of a very specific time in history. Like, I don't think there's really any other horror movie that you can look at and go, I know what year-ish this is, and I feel that when I watch it.
And it was a movie that everyone could relate to. That's huge, right? Like, everyone could relate to babysitting, being there in the house, like, kids fooling around, kids, like, it's so unbelievable. Like, and that's why Nightmare on Elm Street, like you said, other things, when everyday people can relate to being in those situations, that becomes all the more terrifying.
All right.
I mean,
so,
we could spend an entire
You
podcast talking about this.
And I love it.
just to be able to take a small step away from the classics to go for something a bit more modern to shake this up.
Sure.
We are going to go with Happy Death Day. How do we feel? Where does it go?
In terms of, I guess, what do we want to consider modern? Like what time frame?
The Groundhog
Post-
Day of horror.
Two-
No. What I'm saying, that post 2000. Post 2000, I think it's. I don't know.
I would say
better.
anything that is
Like, you can-
pre 80s is the golden age.
Okay.
80s through 90s is the silver age, and then everything 2000s and up is that's modern.
Like, I mean, like you said,
Disney age.
well, like you said, it's Groundhog Day,
It is.
but it's still.
I love this movie.
They took a nice little twist on it,
Yeah.
and instead of like waking up, like you're waking up living the same day over and over again because you have to try to figure out who killed you.
And I
Yeah.
think what's so great about it is that it takes films like Shaun of the Dead. It takes films like
It's a great movie.
Scary Movie. It takes films where people finally started making fun
Yep.
and parody of horror movies. And I think, unlike those, they did a much better job of you're still scared, you're still believing you're watching a horror movie, but it's funny, it's entertaining, the writing's brilliant.
It is.
Like, it is
it's-
really good. Like, I think this is the top 10 slasher movie? No, I don't. Do I think this is one of the most entertaining slasher movies made in the last 10 years? Absolutely. And I love it, and I enjoy it. I absolutely love it.
And this was one of those. This was one of those that I think was on. This was on, I think, me and Brad's list, and it
Yeah.
wasn't on yours.
I thought about it, but I was.
Keep going.
The problem with me is, and look, this could be a possibility of there's a 9-year age difference between us.
Right.
So for me, it's very hard to find films that are original, that are entertaining, and that then you're going to put amongst some of the really good classic things.
No, look, I completely agree. In terms of
Like, I don't have a problem that it's on the list, and it's also me having to admit, as an older person, that there are films that come out that your age and younger, especially for like college and high school kids nowadays, that you have to
Right.
appreciate and enjoy. Look, I loved Hellfest. I may be one of the only people that liked Hellfest, but I loved, that's a little shout out, go see Hellfest if you like these kinds of scary haunted houses,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
movies. Like, reminds me of like an old fun house or one
I
of
was
those.
actually going to ask you how it was. Good?
Loved it.
Yeah.
I really loved it, but I also acknowledge it. No, Happy Death Day I went to, and I remember seeing the previews, and I remember seeing the previews going,
I think we saw the previews
and I was
together
like,
in a
this
movie
could
that we
be
were
an
seeing, yeah.
absolute disaster,
Or
or it could be pretty genius.
yeah.
And it was pretty genius.
It was pretty genius.
Yeah.
Well, they take the trope of the kind of stereotypical blonde sorority girl
Yes.
and that,
And she is so funny.
and she's funny,
She's so funny.
but she starts piecing everything together.
And she
she's-
starts kicking some ass.
Exactly.
Which is very rare, right? Like, they never, like, they're strong, independent female characters, but not with their attitudes.
Right.
Like, not with their, like, that
Yeah,
dark
she's kind of like, to
humor.
hell with this. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna die, then I'm gonna die. But
Exactly.
Well, so one of the hardest things to do.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome
We
back.
missed you.
Yeah. So one of the hardest things to do is to take a parody and treat it seriously and not come across as ridiculous with the final result.
Not come across like Scary Movie or
Right.
those kinds, which
No,
are just ridiculous.
Those are movies that were parodies and they knew it.
Right.
I mean a parody that is treated as if it was like a drama, but doesn't realize that that's the wrong tone if you're going to be doing a serious version of a parody.
Right.
Like, you can't do that.
More like a Blood Simple. This reminded me more of like a Blood Simple. Like, this was more like in the Coen Brothers genre or something like that was more clever. Where the writing
Yeah.
was excellent,
Kind of like
the
more
acting was
self-aware.
great.
Yes.
Self-aware and
Yeah.
smart,
Yeah.
intellectual. That's the problem. It wasn't. You didn't feel stupid
Right.
for watching this. Some of those other things, you feel dumb. You're like, okay, I laugh, but I feel more dumb for having like.
You're laughing at this because you're like, that's actually kind of clever.
Very
Yep.
much so.
Yep.
Very much.
So, where would we rank Happy Death Day?
I mean, look, with everything that's on this list, it's still going to be towards the bottom of the list for me.
Okay.
I would say probably like an 8 or a 9. I think would be safe.
I think 9's a good place.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I would put it. I agree.
What do you think?
What do you think?
I'd feel it as a 7 or 8. I like it.
Okay.
I would not. I like it too.
I'd be comfortable with 8.
I wouldn't
So-
put it lower than 8.
So you're saying
I know what I would put at 9 though.
9?
Now, no, I'm saying you could put it at 8. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but I know what then should go at 9 on my list at least.
Okay. I'm comfortable with 8.
Okay.
Like I said, I really like those
It's really
movies.
good.
I really like those
They
movies.
destroyed it with the second one. But it's really good.
Did they? Man, that's
They
disappointing.
did. You didn't see it?
No.
It was clever in the beginning, and it
And then
takes
just
off a
kind of
whole new
damn
world.
it.
You know, it's like when you had a good thing, and then you try to just make it so ridiculous, and it doesn't become what the first one
Like
was.
too many chefs in the kitchen kind of thing.
Exactly, and you try to take yourself too seriously. That's what I would say.
Whenever I hear that, I always think of Too Many Cooks.
When you start,
Yes.
when you start taking yourself too seriously,
Right.
that's when you get into trouble.
Right.
That's when you get into trouble.
Yeah. Which the first one didn't.
No. The first one
Oh.
didn't. The first one knew exactly what it was, and it stuck with it. Absolutely.
So.
Look at this guy. Look at the good handwriting.
But yeah, like I like.
I won't ask you to cursive because I know they don't teach your generation that anymore.
I know, we were one of the last generations.
I can
Were
still,
you? Okay.
Hey, I can still sign my name. Close enough.
Mike, there is zero chance you have good handwriting.
Yeah, but you teach, so you
What are
have
you talking
to.
about?
Zero
No.
chance.
I'll let you see some of my handwriting.
Brad, does he have good handwriting? There's no.
No.
Thank you. I'm glad majority rules. I just know you. I know people that have good handwriting. I know people that
Anyway.
don't. You're one of
Technology
those.
is his friend when it comes to writing.
Oh my God! Any minute, Uncle Rico's gonna be like, "I can write the Bible in the greatest handwriting you've ever seen," and you can throw that ball over that mountain over there. All right, let's continue.
Well, I was gonna say before we go on.
Yes.
Like, the thing that I really like about horror films is when they try to do something.
Slasher.
Well, horror in general.
Okay.
But slashers too is when they try to do something that kind of kicks the trend and goes against the grain. To the point like everybody craps on me when I say it, but still like one of my favorite movies of the last 15 years was the first Cloverfield.
I'm okay with that.
Good movie.
I'm okay with that.
Just don't watch it if you're like.
Right, but
A little drunk.
now they did the whole shaky cam after that and everything like that.
Yeah.
But that was one of the first ones that kind of did it from that first person perspective
that
of
was-
putting you down in there.
That was one that
In the
did shaky
horror
cam
aspect.
without it being shaky cam.
Right.
That was
Not really true. You got to
Or,
give
I'm
the
sorry,
other.
I'm sorry. It was one of the first ones to do it in a while.
There you go. That was better.
You're right, I'm
so
sorry.
I would give Blair Witch credit before Cloverfield.
Yes, and I loved Blair Witch.
Yeah.
But Happy Death Day was kind of the same thing. It took a classic
Oh
tale
yeah. Oh yes.
like Caddyshack and kind of.
It wasn't even that it was that original, but
No.
again, it knew what it
But
was.
it did something. But it did something.
Groundhog Day.
Oh, I'm sorry, Groundhog Day. I said
There you
Caddyshack.
go.
Yeah.
Groundhog
Bill
Day.
Murray.
That's
Close
okay.
enough. Both classics.
You're right.
But I do like it when they do kind of go away from what the norm at the time
Wrong
is.
rodent.
There you go. Well played.
Rest in peace, Harold Ramis.
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, so next on the list, let's go with.
This is gonna start to get hard.
Yeah, that's what she said.
No, mine say. Yeah, it was amazing for all of the 3 minutes that it lasted. A heavyweight boxing round. We're off topic. Notice how I can do it without cursing, though. Can I just say I'm like Bill Cosby?
We're moving on.
Did you
We're
like
moving on.
how I
We're
said
moving
that?
on.
I can
We're
do it
moving on.
without. There you go. Doesn't that just get better? Who wants a Jello pudding pop? Let's go.
I
Next
mean,
up.
are they going to be consenting to it?
Oh, come on.
To the pudding pop?
To the pudding pop. Are we talking about? Okay, move on.
It's a euphemism.
It's something, all right. Definitely an ism. It's called 50 years in the state penitentiary. That's what it's called.
We can't get sued for this, can we?
All I know is there's a lot of pudding pop action going on in that place right now.
We can probably get sued for that.
We're talking about chocolate here.
Yeah, you are. Sure, that's what we're talking about.
Yes, you
Oh,
are.
sweet.
Sexual.
You broke Brad.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that amazing? Only I can break Brad. I want to point that out. You look back at all the other things when I'm on this show, I can always break Brad.
Wait,
I usually do it in the first 30 seconds. I didn't do it now, but I
Wait,
broke
hang on.
Brad.
When did Mark Henry show up?
He doesn't know who that is. Will
But you do.
Stop. No, that is not sexual chocolate. Even Brad can tell you what sexual chocolate is. What is sexual chocolate, Brad?
It's Mark Henry.
No, it is not. It's Randy Watson. Can you give it up for my band, Sexual Chocolate? Please tell me what that's from. Oh, no. You don't know what that's from?
I don't.
Coming to America.
Thank you.
Done. I am done. Mr. You might remember him from that episode as the guest policeman. Who's my mama? Okay, continue.
All right, back on the rails.
Brad,
please.
we're back. What's the next movie? Let's go, Sexual Chocolate. That's my new nickname for Brad. And people are just going to look at me and be like, why the hell are you calling this guy? Oh, because you just don't know. That's Sexual Chocolate. Wait till your wife hears that the next time.
Why does he get that one nicknames and I don't?
Yeah, you're the Marvel moron.
That's not a cool nickname!
And Uncle Rico. Listen.
Neither is that!
Your wife is not going to know what to do. Why is that strange guy with the big nose who's Jewish calling you Sexual Chocolate?
You forgot to say in his 40s.
Thank you for that,
Yeah.
Mike.
You're welcome.
See, and I'm not even going to curse. Go ahead.
Oh, so now you understand how Mike feels when you get him around Raz.
What's the next one? Aroused? Did you just say aroused?
No.
Did you just say, you really are Sexual Chocolate? This guy has it all, the whole world in his pants, not in his hands.
Is that around Raz?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've heard you say a lot of weird things today. All right, go ahead, Brad. What's the next movie?
Let's get it back on the rails, please.
Really quickly, if this is the first time you're joining us.
Isn't it appropriate that Sexual Chocolate is a Darth Vader mug?
Oh. Once again, if this is the first time you're joining us, thank you for sticking around. Please don't go.
This is going to be the most watched thing you've ever had.
Normally our show is much more sane than this.
No, it's not. Don't lie to them.
After I edit it, it's usually a bit more sane
Okay,
than
that's
this.
fair.
Oh, I got to remember to sit more erect. Go ahead.
New videos every Tuesday and Friday.
If we're allowed to continue to do this.
Sorry, I'm on about 20 Zyrtex at this point.
One of these days we'll hopefully get some sponsors, but clearly not today.
Oh, are you kidding me? Viagra's going to be on this. Or Magnum Sexual Chocolate.
Condom.
Okay, can we continue to go here? What is next on our list?
Condom sense.
There you go.
Yep.
That's right.
Anyway, oh my dear Lord.
Jesus Christ.
Okay,
Next one, Brad.
next up,
Take us home.
we definitely have to go a little bit faster.
Yeah, we really
through
do.
these movies.
These tangents.
Oh dear Lord, Child's.
What a beautiful segue! Right into Child's Play! Oh, cha-ching the money ball! We are on our way, folks. Let's talk us some Chucky.
Brad, I even would have gone with Scream.
He walked right into that one, man. Into Child's Play. That was amazing. This was supposed to be a PG show.
Hey, Brad. Hey, you know how, like, we as evolved beings look at, like, bugs and don't get how they're and don't understand why they're so dumb to fly into the bug zapper?
He went right
what you just
into
did.
Child's Play.
He
That was
literally
so
walked
genius,
into
and he
the
did it
door.
all on his own. Like, we didn't even have anything to do with it.
I just, hey, so what Brad just did was the actual physical embodiment of the moth meme from like 6 months ago with the flame.
That was great. Oh my God. Do you think that's like what is that what your favorite buddy did when he was creating Man of Steel? Did he just walk right into that thing like just
You good?
knowing?
No.
Brad's back. So Brad wanted to talk about Child's Play, a
I'm
little
so
doll
not
that's
able.
taken home by a boy that tells him to go F himself.
That's one way to put it.
Charles Lee Ray. Mike, what do you think about Child's Play? Brad is gone. Brad has gone off. Wait, isn't it impressive? What was the name of the character? Brad Dourif. Yes, Brad Dourif. It's so perfect, Brad. Brad Dourif, the voice of Chucky. What do you want from me?
Oh, jeez.
Okay, we're going to talk about Child's Play. Child's Play was a film in the early 90s, not the redo, not the new one.
Even
that
though
some of
the
our
new one
viewers
has
might-
Mark Hamill in it.
Right.
And the new one wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, by the way.
That's what everybody keeps saying.
It was
Actually,
far
it's
better
pretty
because it
decent.
wasn't just a straight remake.
Yeah, it was. I guess it was an artificial intelligence, or it was.
Yeah, they
something
really
like
put
that.
a modern day spin on it.
What was that?
That was.
A different
Calm down
cast
over their
is what
sexual
he was
He
trying
was,
to
he was getting excited because we were talking about.
Hey, I'm not the one
Little
that.
children.
Hey, I'm not the one that hears sexual chocolate and thinks Child's Play. Calm down over there.
Okay, can we get back on track? Child's Play.
No,
Again, an
so-
iconic character.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely a slasher movie, but a totally different world of the slasher movie.
And it
Yes.
fits into a very, very specific phobia that a lot of people have.
Yeah, dolls.
Little people.
I didn't even think about that.
What did he just
You
say?
know,
Old
this,
people?
no, he said little people.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute, time out. Don't be putting me in this category. I have never watched Child's Play and ever thought of a phobia of little people. What? Who is this guy, man? Sexual chocolate. Dude, little people? You watch Child's Play and you have a phobia of little, that makes you think of little people with knives running around?
I mean,
You are a horrible person.
To be fair-
Little people? Have you ever thought of little people?
Nope.
At least he's a particular.
Oh my god, okay, Leprechaun,
And children.
I would have agreed with you. Little
And
and children, that I agree with. That I agree. See, this is the phobia of having a 6-month-old.
Yeah.
This is the phobia
Yeah.
of he's already thinking to himself, when his son is able to walk, he's going to turn around late at night and his son's going to be standing by him with a butcher knife and be like, ah!
That'd be the only.
And let's remember, Child's Play came out at around the same time as Teddy Ruxpin, so that just really added to.
He said little people.
Okay, let's get it back on the
Sorry.
rails, folks.
He has a phobia of little people.
Hey, I understand. I do. I'm saying it fed into.
Little people have batteries, putting them on the back and then like...
Okay, in the movie,
Something that's like 3 feet tall coming after you with a knife.
Which would
in the
seem
movie,
ridiculous, right?
in the
Isn't that the
movie-
brilliance?
when the doll was running around trying to kill people, who was in the costume?
That's a great point. You know that all of these years I've never thought about a little person in a costume? All I've thought, wait,
What did you think it was like?
no, I
It
it's
was like
kind of
marionette
sad.
going around set, like, kill him,
I know,
kill
I
him, kill him.
like to, you know, like, you know, like imagination, you like to suspend it when you see movies. So I guess I've always thought in a weird way
you
that
thought there
Chucky was
an
real.
actual
Or
demonic
maybe like
possessed?
a puppet or something that they were able to do things with. I don't know. You
Because
know,
George Lucas is
so
the one
who
that
was
did
in the
Child's
body?
Play.
Who was in it? Do you know?
A little person.
I can't
Holy
believe.
hell.
How did you know it was a little person? What if it was a 6-year-old kid?
Because they're gonna have a little 6-year-old kid going around.
So you
fake
think
stabbing
Warwick
people.
Davis was putting on that Child's Play Chucky
I mean,
outfit
to
and
be
going
fair,
around?
to be fair, the man has enough versatility. I wouldn't be surprised.
You would be right. But isn't that the amazing thing? We just talked about how Happy Death Day didn't take itself too seriously and did stuff. How funny is it that a movie like Child's Play, you were genuinely scared, like that's messed up, that a little doll, that you're like, oh, this little 2 or 3 foot thing, not a little person, but a 2 or 3 foot doll, a toy has come to life, and you're genuinely scared of it. Like, that's brilliant. Like, if I sold you that plot and said, hey, Mike and Brad, I'm going to make a horror movie, and I'm going to have this little Darth Vader right here come to life and start chasing you around, you guys would have laughed your heads off at me and you've been like, David, you need psychological help for more
No,
reasons than we
look,
thought.
you're 100% right.
Oh, stop it. It was a little person.
yeah.
He's changed my whole world.
That's what I was trying
Once
to
again, did you really think that they were gonna have a little kid dressed up in a costume going around stabbing people on set?
I never thought about it.
All right, so trying to get it back on the. God, I'm the one trying to get it back on the rails.
So
Sexual
that-
chocolate
Then
has
you
just
know
changed my
something's
world.
No.
So
like,
where would we
dude,
place Child's
like you
Play?
said, the fact that it was literally like a kid's toy comes to life and starts terrorizing people.
And that wasn't
Like-
the first time things like that had been done. Like,
No.
you look at, like, Poltergeist.
Right.
Like, they had done that idea before, but
This
it's
was
so
specific.
ridiculous.
Poltergeist.
This was
Oh, you mean-
specific
wait,
for the entire movie.
You mean the Spielberg classic Poltergeist?
Yes.
Yes.
And can we talk about something? What else did Child's Play play on people's world, which was again the idea. They did it in Nightmare on Elm Street. They do it in this. Nobody believes the kid.
Yep.
Because if a little kid came to you and said, "My dolls come to life,"
Yep.
it's killing people.
Well, there's
and is that not a reflection on Michael Myers as well?
Well, there's
because
also
you've already
one
seen
other-
the kid who kills people.
Well, there's also one other political statement that's being made by the movie:
What is it? Oh no.
the evils of commercialism.
Yeah.
Very true. And that is actually in the remake of it what they do better than even the first one.
Really?
They do. They do a really good job of that.
Fair enough.
I really like Child's Play.
I'm
It's
not a
another
communist.
iconic
I like
character,
capitalism.
Chucky.
Oh yeah,
And
no, I love Chucky, even with how
Where the series
absolutely
went.
ridiculous the rest of the movies
Yes.
got, like with each subsequent.
So here's the
version.
thing. This is one of those. This
Like
is one
I
of those.
honestly, I think one of the best things the franchise ever did was introduce Jennifer Tilly, because I think she helped emphasize how absurd.
Well,
and
so-
I agree, when it went
this
to
whole
a
thing
parody.
was.
Because by the
was
time it got to
great.
number 3, it was just a stupid
Well, that's
joke.
just it. So this started off as something that could be really terrifying.
And it
Didn't
became
take
funny.
itself too seriously.
Got
It could be-
ruined
it
as
could
soon as
be-
they started taking itself too
It could have either
seriously.
been off the rails, corny and cheesy,
Yep.
and over
Yep.
the top bad, or it could be scary.
Yep.
Started off here, went over here.
And can I say this? How brilliant, and this is the key. Now, I'm really serious about this. You look at Jaws, you look at Halloween, the original, right? How many times do the great horror movies, slasher movies, whatever you want, you don't actually see the killer until halfway through the film?
True.
Remember, in Chucky, the first half of the film, you are just, she gets tossed out of the thing, you don't really see what happens.
Well, not
You know,
enough.
things are going on, you don't see, he's blown to pieces, Eddie Percuto in the thing with the
Yep.
gas leak, you don't see, it's not until she picks up the doll, halfway through it, the first time with the batteries, that you go, there he is coming to life. That's pretty genius, because you're terrified at that point. Your mind is playing tricks on you at that point. It's kind of cool.
Yep.
Agreed. 100%
All right.
agreed.
So where would we place Child's Play? Does it break the top 5?
No.
No. I think I'm putting it at number 7. That's where I would put it.
I would put it at 9.
Really?
Yeah.
Child's Play at 9?
No
Considering
way.
the other things that we have on the list?
I know what's going in that 9 slot for me. You can change the order.
Oh, I know
but-
what you know what's going in that.
I know what's going on at number 9 because I couldn't put it at number 10 because of you guys.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
He is not going. There's no way.
Yes, I am.
Okay, we're not agreeing with that.
Nope.
No way.
Really?
If you do that, that will make this list the most laughable shock jock list ever.
Oh, I have reasons.
Okay, I will judge it fairly. Can we then tentatively put Child's Play at, I'm not putting it at 9. I wouldn't put it outside at 6 or 7 at the most.
Yeah.
I'll
I
put
think
it at
7's a good spot.
I think 7's fair.
7's a good spot.
7's fine.
Yeah. Is he on drugs?
I know where he's going with it.
Dude, now I'm starting to question the last 6
Now-
months. Has something taken over your brain, Sexual Chocolate?
You might hate me for this.
Yeah.
I don't think I would put what he's putting at 9 at number 2.
Oh, I know exactly where we're going. Wait. Oh. I don't necessarily have a problem with that.
You
but
know
I think
what?
It's got to be in the top 5.
You know what? Let's
I
get
think
let's
you
get
and-
to it. Let's address the elephant in the room. Psycho.
Wait, can we address what I think I'm going to put at 9, and I have a feeling he's going to put at 9, and see if we agree before we get to Psycho?
Really?
Because I think Psycho's going to open something up. Clearly with you. And it's going to be a lot more than pudding pops.
Well, hang on. Let's not say it out loud because I don't want to jump ahead.
Can we talk about your next, literally next? Is that fair? Can we talk about your next?
I didn't want to say it out loud.
Okay.
But yeah, we can.
Okay, see, I think
Alright,
we're on the
that's-
same page here.
That's what you.
I think
You
we're on
guys
the
think
same
that should be
page
at
here.
9?
If I look at the list you currently given me, I don't even think Your Next is that filmmaker's best movie. It is his best slasher movie, but it's not their best movie. I still like The Guest, but that's just me.
That's a good one.
I really like The Guest, but it's not a slasher movie in favor, and
No.
this is what made him famous.
Right.
So, talk about Your Next, Brett. This was your edition of the list. It just missed mine. I told you that.
But now, I'll be
I was
honest.
very heavily thinking about it.
I'll be honest with you. I told Brad that one just missed my top 10.
Okay, so all three of us said that. So it should be in the discussion. We all felt that way. So tell us why you were so adamant that this should be on your top 10 list. For those who haven't seen it, do you want to give just a very brief synopsis? Because I bet a lot of people haven't, unfortunately.
So Your Next is a slasher film that is all around a family that has the one guest to the family, the girlfriend of the son. It was the son, right?
It's the middle son, I think.
Middle son.
Middle son. At the house, out in the woods, and they're having dinner, and a group of people come and start trying to kill everybody, and she's the only one that is really on top of things because she comes from a survivalist family and is able to keep a clear head during everything. And basically, this is the movie for everybody that's ever sat through a horror movie, especially a slasher film, and sat there and said, you know what, no. If that was me, I wouldn't have died like that. I could do it better.
I would start whooping some ass.
And this is the
She whoops some ass.
this is basically the movie for every one of those people.
Yes.
And
for every strong female character who, like, you sit there and you're like, now that's a badass. Like, that's a girl who's not taking crap
No,
from
she doesn't.
anybody.
so for me,
But it also does it in a realistic way.
yeah, and that's the thing. For
100%.
me,
She's not like, oh, I watch millions of horror
No,
movies. I know
she's not
like,
Superman.
She's like, my parents were survivalists. Like, we grew up, and like my
It
parents
made
put me
sense.
in situations growing up.
Yes, it made
like,
sense.
that I could fend for myself. Should I ever be
100%.
put in like the worst
Yeah.
possible scenario and everything like that? And she's smart. She's intuitive. Like, she's not like a badass military green beret or anything like that. But it's a lot of common sense stuff. Just because she was put in those situations growing up, she has a clear mind in the situation to actually be able to defend herself and
I agree.
completely and totally beat the hell out of everyone.
And it's a great shot movie. The lighting is fantastic. The music is great. Really good movie.
Now, there was one that kind of came out a couple months ago that I wanted to see. That was kind of along the lines, the hide and seek one or whatever.
Maybe.
Did you see that?
No, I actually
Okay. They kind of did a play on what this was a little bit. So the fact that this film's already got other films coming out that are kind of along the lines. And I don't even think, is it 10 years old yet?
No. Well, yeah.
Is it?
Isn't Your Next 2006?
Was it that long ago?
Was it 2006? Or am I
Alright.
imagining that? I feel like it was a long time ago.
11.
11, okay.
Oh, wow, so we're only 8
So
years.
it's still
yeah,
been
yeah.
8 years. It's crazy. It's been a long time.
So, I think it deserves higher than 9 just because it's a concept that easily could have felt way too fanficky, and yet it felt solid with the way they told the story, and it didn't feel like this was just some horror movie fan's own version of self-gratification on screen. Like, it actually felt like it had something to offer.
Do you want to know why I didn't want to put this on my list?
I think it's more like an 8 spot, but we already have an 8 spot.
And we have a 7.
Do you know what do we have at 8?
Happy Death Day.
I wouldn't have a problem moving Happy Death Day back to 9 and moving this at 8. I wouldn't have a problem with that. My issue, do you want to know my honest issue with this movie and why it didn't make my top 10? Is because I felt that this was not the beginning of this. There have been other movies previous to 2011 that had survivalists, women who had been taught something,
Sure.
children that had grown up, and it took a little bit of that. I feel like if this had been the original, then
I
it
get
would have
that.
made
No.
my. You know what I mean?
100%
Like,
get that. But this is the one to do it the best.
okay,
I feel like
I don't disagree.
Yes.
But
And
do you
there's a-
remember
and
the
there's- but
movie?
there's-
Do you remember the movie? What was the one about the little girl in the woods with her dad?
Oh,
That was so damn good.
Hannah.
Hannah was so good.
Yeah.
Very, very, like, ignored, but you're not going to call that a slasher movie.
no.
You're going to
No,
call
it's
that
more of an
movie, yeah, like more like an action film, right? But it has some of that. Then you look at movies like, the one before Glass, Split. Split, she had a lot of that in her. You also, like, there were other movies were doing this kind of stuff. I agree with you. This might be the best one, but that's why it didn't. I saw stuff that had been done previously, although I guess Split was after that. But I had seen movies previously where it took that kind of idea and went with it a little bit, especially strong female leads. I love Your Next, but I wouldn't have a problem putting it at 8.
Okay.
I could put it at 8. Would
So are
you
we
have a
saying
problem moving
rearrange?
Happy Death Day? Swapping them?
No.
Okay.
I feel like that's
See,
fair.
look at the compromise on this show. Look at
Alright.
the compromise. We didn't even have to use any Spanish fly or anything like that. What?
And actually, so you actually talk about movies that did it before. Hannah actually came out the
Same year. Isn't that interesting?
Say again?
Hannah actually came out the same year.
Although,
so
but I
really
would bank
neither of
on the
those-
fact. I would bank on the fact that
Neither of those were
the
actually
people who
before
did
it.
Hannah didn't know about what they were doing
Yeah, right.
next. Is what I would say, and that was the introduce of you know who.
This was?
Yeah.
Oh, so-
How
How do you
about
say her
that
name?
one? How do you say Sorsay?
Saoirse Ronan?
Ronan? Is it?
Uh,
How do you say it? Is it
Her first name.
Sorsay?
Because she's Irish.
she's. I've heard her pronounce it before. Shami.
I feel like it's
Cersei Ronan.
Cersei. Yeah.
it
Like
Cersei?
Cersei. Think of Cersei.
Never seen an episode.
Yes, you have.
One episode, sorry, you're right.
Good lord.
Like
Okay,
can't.
so moving on because we're officially at the hour 6-minute mark.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Sports
Please keep on
nerds.
going. No, keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going.
okay,
He,
so-
he has problems. Keep on going.
Next up, we're gonna go back to Psycho because we need to do this.
Okay, now it's time.
Okay. I want to hear your reasoning why it should be so low on the list.
I could sit here for an hour and explain why I think it should be in the top 5 on this list and why it
yeah.
created the genre. Literally created. I would argue that it created.
So you're going to say that? So I understand why cinematically, Psycho is considered a great movie.
Okay.
Because
the way it's
cinematically,
shot.
I think it has a lot to offer. What I'm saying is that specifically under the category of slasher,
That's
I
fair.
don't think it merits the top 5. I barely think it merits talking about in the top 10.
Now, let me ask why.
As a slasher, as a movie, I will be more than happy to say, yeah, sure, let's go ahead and toss it in the cinematic top 10 because there's a lot that any film student can learn from
If
it.
you're gonna put it and make it eligible for
But even though
slasher.
it is a slasher,
Okay, but if you make it eligible for slasher,
I say it
then
may
you
be top
have
20.
to-
I say it maybe makes top 20.
but my my
No.
point is, what genre are you putting Psycho in?
It can't fit in anything. Psychological thriller, maybe?
Yes.
I mean, I would agree with that, but
I'd
I'm
say
saying
yes.
if you're going to, we talked about some films off camera, and we got rulings on them. So if you deemed Psycho part of the slasher genre, then you have to evaluate it for everything it is. If you want to eliminate it from the slasher genre, then you have a better argument.
But here's
with
the
that.
thing: if
So
we're talking about the top 10 slasher movies of all time,
okay,
yes, you have to consider how good is it as a movie,
right?
But you also have to think of it as how good is it as a slasher.
So then
movie.
here's my question.
The primary focus here, while the cinematic value should be taken into consideration, the primary focus should be how good is it as a slasher.
Then what would your definition of a slasher movie be?
I mean,
Does it have to
You gotta then say what your
so
definition
it fits
is.
the category of a slasher.
Okay, so what's your definition of a slasher?
It is
We should have started with that, actually, now that I
Yeah,
think about
actually,
it.
yeah.
That would have been a good thing to start with.
a horror movie.
Let's hop in the DeLorean.
A slasher is a horror movie
Okay.
that is focused on the character deaths and the way that they are killed by a human or human stand-in the case of Chucky,
Okay.
and technically even Freddy Krueger. And
I mean, you've literally changed my life forever with the little person guy. I never thought about that. You're teaching an old dog new tricks.
and
Okay, you're going to go into labor shortly, okay? Just hold off for another 10 seconds.
No, keep going.
So, has to be focused on how they die, has to be focused on the fact that the killer is a human or human stand-in,
Okay.
and most importantly of all, the primary purpose of the movie is the journey to those deaths. And I don't think the primary journey of Psycho is the killing. I think the primary journey of Psycho is the psychological, the psychosis of the main character, and the killings happen to be an afterthought of that psychosis.
Okay.
I don't think it is the,
Interesting.
I don't think that his psychosis drives him to kill. I think it is a side effect of the psychosis. Therefore, I don't think that is the primary focus of the movie.
That you know of.
Stop. Because I want to counter with a couple of things before I literally explode.
Okay, don't break my arm.
Sorry.
Thank you.
What was Michael Myers' motivation in Halloween?
There is none.
Murder.
Why?
We don't know. We don't know.
He just
If there
We're
is,
not really
if there's
sure.
no obvious motivation for a killer killing, then his motivation is to kill.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
he
So his
kills.
motivation is just to kill.
So Norman Bates
Or
has
is his
more-
motivation just that he's just pure evil, like they talk about?
Same difference.
So then Norman Bates has more motivation
killing
than
for the
Michael
same
Myers.
killing is the same thing as killing because you're evil. It means the same
So
thing.
Norman Bates then has more motivation than Michael Myers. And if you're going to talk about the way that people are killed,
What
it
is
his
Norman
respons-
Bates' motivation?
That he's bad shit. No, yeah. Language.
But
Just does he kill? Is he just evil,
It's
or
very
is he? Or does he have just a problem?
It's very possible.
but,
that
think,
either.
but think back to the movie.
Now, the
Any
other
of the
thing that I'm
kills
going to
that
counter
you
with,
see in the movie,
the other things that I'm going to counter with is responsible for two of the most famous on-screen kills in cinema history.
any kill that you actually witness in the movie, does he go into the interaction with the intent to kill them?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
so.
Absolutely.
I think so.
1000%.
I think both. I think
The
both
first-
kills in the movie are the both famous kills in the movie. I think are definitely he's going to the intention with killing them.
The first one, I can see.
And I have a
The
question.
second, I think that her death, or her attempted.
No. We're not talking about that. We're talking about The Private Eye.
And I have a yes. And I have a question.
That is one of the most iconic shots ever.
Yes.
He gets stabbed and then goes down the stairs
Yes.
backwards with the camera zooming in on
Well,
him.
wait.
As he goes down.
And I have a question.
But was the Private Eye killed because Norman Bates simply wanted to kill him, or was he killed because he was getting ready to find out certain things that he really didn't want, Norman Bates didn't want found out?
But then I can counter the same thing with why was Michael Myers killing all of those teenagers?
Because he could.
But that's not.
I don't know. I
motivation.
also have a question.
No, I never said that a slasher film was based on the merit of the motivation.
Okay, but there is a great unknown in this. Do we all agree that there's zero chance that the first killing we see Norman Bates do is the first time he's killed someone?
Probably not.
So
No.
that's the great unknown.
Well, we know
How
that-
long
well-
has this been going on? How long has he just been killing people that comes to this motel? All the things we can't ask
Well,
ourselves.
once again,
Michael Myers, we see the very first killing. We see
But
every killing he's
but
ever done.
once again, you can, if you really analyze each of the kills that we do see of Norman Bates, you can easily go back and find some motivation during his interaction with that character that would have triggered the thought, I now need to kill this
I think
person.
it's just that they
did
show up
not-
at his motel.
That did not necessarily exist when he first started interacting with
You don't
the
think that
person.
it's just they show up at his motel?
I think
And he's just been killing people left or
I
You
think
never
he
see anybody
has-
else at the motel.
I think he has a predilection to it, but I don't think he goes into every interaction thinking I'm going to kill this person. Whereas
Then
every
why
other,
don't you see anybody else at the
whereas
motel?
every other slasher that we have on this list, the killer, there is not a single interaction that you will see them go into that you don't know going into it they intend to kill that anybody they meet. That is absolutely their thing.
But Michael Myers doesn't kill everybody he meets.
He tries.
But he doesn't.
So it's
Why doesn't Michael Myers kill any of the other? If that was the case, then when the first scene shows up after Michael's gotten older and they're all wandering around the Smiths Grove thing, why isn't there just a trail of dead bodies and Michael's just been going to every single one
He
of
doesn't
those
even-
mental whatever and just killing them
Every
all?
serial killer has their preference. Every serial killer has the type of victim that they prefer. Michael Myers is categorically a serial killer. By
So-
definition, he's a serial killer. Every serial
There's a lot of interesting things.
Every serial killer has a type.
I could the only thing I'm going to say, and then Mike, you can take over. The only thing I'm going to say about Psycho is my biggest thing with this comes down to if we're gonna put it in the class that we're talking about, then it's very hard for me to analyze it outside of everything that it is, which is what boosted up the rankings.
Right.
Now, if you had said to me, we're going to just analyze, we're not going to put Psycho because I don't consider it a slasher movie, I don't know if I would have had a problem with that either. But I'm just playing by your guys' rules.
So I got two things to throw in. So one, according to Wikipedia, the definition of a slasher film adheres to a specific formula. The past wrongful action causes severe trauma that is reinforced by a commemoration or anniversary that reactivates or re-inspires the killer.
Okay.
So, throwing that out there. The guy who wrote Psycho, Robert, I think it's Bloch, I think is his name.
Yep, very good.
It goes on, I was kind of like, because it's been so long since I've seen it. I was like, well, it's like, okay, watch it every so often kind of movie.
You can also watch the Gus Van Sant remake shot for shot.
So, Bloch sums up Norman, because so it says that Norman, when he kills his mom and her fiance, says that after that point he develops dissociative identity disorder, meaning he starts developing split personalities. And then it says, sums up Norman's multiple personalities and stylistic forms, that Norman's a child dependent on his mother. Norma, because remember he does take on his mother's persona, is a possessive mother who kills anyone who threatens the illusion of her existence. So anyone who shows up at the hotel could threaten that existence of just like, hey, this is a dude playing a chick. Hold on a minute. Oh, wait a minute, hold on, I need to take care of this.
You guys can make a final ruling on it.
Does that make sense?
It made
look,
perfect sense.
That's all I was going to throw in.
I have to agree with David as much as it pains me to say it.
Oh my God.
And I still love you.
But once again, I also think that Hitchcock overall is a bit overrated.
Oh, God. Okay, wait. I'm going to play a quick game with you.
Do you want to
Elvis Living or Dead? No, I wasn't going to do that. Okay, look. Wait. Long coma. Long coma. Okay, no, hold on.
Oh.
Hold on. I'm going to do a quick quiz. You've seen Psycho.
Yep.
You've seen The Birds.
Yep.
North by Northwest.
Yep.
Vertigo.
Yep. I'm not saying that he's not a great director. I just think that a lot of what he has done is overrated for what it is. I think he has some fantastic films that he's done. Overall, I think Psycho is one of his more overrated options.
Oh, you're saying Psycho. You said he is a filmmaker.
Oh no, I think he as a filmmaker can be overrated in the level of fanboying that people give him. But Psycho, I think of all of his works, is the most overrated of his pieces because I think people have put it up on a pedestal that if it were really truly evaluated in a void, it wouldn't be able to hold up to. I think it would still be considered a really well done film.
But you don't.
I think it would have
you don't
its
think
hallmark.
with the shots,
I think it
the
would have its
music,
hallmark in the great cinema of history. But I don't think that if it was evaluated in a void, it would hold up to the pedestal that so many fanboys have put it on.
Dude, I have to completely disagree.
Like, I mean, you also do you not take into into account when it was done, time period,
do,
and at the same time, like the choices he made of shooting it in black and white, the choices he made of the story and the idea, like it starts off almost like a heist film in a sense, totally turns into a murder. I don't know. I think it is very hard to look at a lot of films as works of art, and I think that the definition of Psycho is that it is a work of art.
Okay, Scorsese.
Yeah, you know what's not a work of art? Okay, I'm going to stay quiet on this today. A lot of the films you like, buddy.
I also
Green Lantern.
I also like a lot of these so-called artsy films. It's all art.
Do you, though?
It's all
Watch
art.
Godfather 2.
It's all art.
Go
Martin.
ahead.
It's all art.
Okay, will you tell them what you were going to say so we can move on?
If we're
Tree of Life is a work of art.
if we're
Anything
gonna
Terrence Malick does.
If we're gonna look, it's one of the. You can say that it's overrated, but it is like widely considered one of the greatest films in any genre.
But that's not what he was arguing.
No.
As a slasher,
right.
I don't.
As a
now,
slasher, that's the issue.
I don't think it
Now-
deserves to be that high
so
by
look,
comparison.
Right now,
Like,
we can.
by modern slasher standards, I think what is a slasher has been better done by several other films.
But I would also argue...
I don't think that it deserves top 5.
But I'll tell you the problem. I would argue that there's at least one other film that I'm thinking off the top of my head right now that I don't think any of us are going to disagree on, and you could say that would not be classified as your traditional slasher movie.
Oh no, I get that. I'm not even saying this is what a traditional slasher movie is, and therefore it is a great slasher. I'm just saying by overall standards that have been set by even modern slashers, classic slashers, everything, I think that the slasher genre has been done better than what Psycho.
Was this the invention of the slasher? Was this not? Would you not say that this could be the origin of the slasher movie?
I think you have to completely argue that.
I mean, I think you could say this is the first time of the idea of the young girl with the knife, not even taking the cinematic shots and everything. This is the moment that then inspires for the rest of your days.
The big reveal of the killer.
I mean...
Not being, like, dude, like, how many people...
I think this is the origin. I personally think this is the definition of what she was reading, the definition of what we say. This is, I don't know if you could find anything before this.
I think this falls closer in line with traditional murder mysteries, and therefore you could make an argument that...
But did they ever show anything like that in Murder Mystery?
No.
Wasn't the Murder Mysteries more like, there's the body, let's figure out who done it, like that kind of a thing?
I think there are other thrillers and murder mysteries that have come after Psycho that could just as easily be used to inspire other
I don't disagree with you, but the fact that this was first, that's the issue.
What were we going to say?
I was going to say, you argued iconicness when it came to Friday the 13th. So
iconicness
in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Of slasher.
But I was saying, like, why couldn't you also...
But there are things that are in this film that were used in future slashers.
True. I mean, where are we looking at with this list? So you would want to see Psycho where?
I mean, based on my list, I wouldn't even have it in the top 10, but seeing as how we have specific spots open, I mean, lowest you can go at this point is 6.
Dude, if we're... Whatever category it's in, whether it be psychological thriller, slasher, whatever, it can't not be in the top 5. That's how I look at it.
I mean, I understand where Brad's coming from. I don't agree, but I understand.
Like I said, I knew that neither one of you were going to agree with.
No, it's a good conversation. So, I think the problem is where does it belong?
Hey, so I'll go ahead and introduce something then real quick. Do you guys want to play a mulligan? We can pull it from the list and pull one of our alternates and put it on the list.
I would not pull Psycho from the list. Okay. If you're gonna keep.
But no. I'm saying pull it from the list on the grounds that it's not a true slasher film.
That you could do. Although
I think it's going to take way too much time for us to agree on a replacement for it at this point. And we don't have.
We make it our top 9. That's different.
That would stand out.
I mean, I wouldn't have a problem if he wants to put it at 5. I wouldn't have a problem if he wanted to put it.
It has.
So where do you both see it?
It has to be in the top 5.
I would see it at the top 3, but but hearing what you said, if we want to put it at 5, we can. I wouldn't drop it any lower than that.
I wouldn't either.
So you guys are willing to say 3?
I'd be willing to say 3
without being physically pained by it.
I wouldn't even be physically pained if you put it at 5.
I would. Yeah, I would be fine with 5.
I'm not physically pained
okay
if
with
you put it at 5.
Putting it at 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was almost uncomfortable. Jesus. That was like, I felt like I was about to be stabbed.
We're gonna jump on the camera, right?
Oh, I don't know where it was coming from. I just all of a sudden felt like this look and that look, and I was stuck in the middle, and there was something like I was just like my head was just shrinking like Beetlejuice,
and then a sudden chill filled the room.
I know, like I was like something's going on, and I don't really want to be in the middle of this.
Go ahead and put it at 5.
I'm really glad I'm sitting in the middle.
Go ahead and put it at 5. Yes. 5 is
do
fine.
Do it. We're on our way to being as long as the new Scorsese movie.
Oh Jesus! Overrated bastard.
You just. Shut up.
With an asterisk.
Put an asterisk. That's great. That's kind of like Tom Brady's Super Bowls. Okay. Ba-dum-bum.
All right. So next up, one that's
deflated Psycho.
I'm gonna deflate your life.
Alright, so here's one that's going to be much easier to talk about.
Much easier. Go for it.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original.
And I'm so glad that you brought in Texas Chainsaw Massacre the original, because your argument about Psycho, I could use a very similar argument about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a movie I love. Does it really fit in the slasher category? I don't know.
How so?
From the standpoint of...
And don't say because they don't use knives to actually slash
No,
people.
because that would have been the same thing with, you could have argued that with Jason, you could argue that with the ways they all do different kinds of kills and stuff. I would never getting caught in knife. My issue with Texas Chainsaw Massacre is I actually feel that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is as much a slasher as it is also maybe the earliest version of torture porn, that genre that I have seen in a weird way. And the reason I don't put it in torture porn is because there was so much politically being said about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is a total pro-vegetarian film, and if you don't see it, you're blinded to it, that you're so grossed out by this smoking meat house family that's cannibalistic, but you don't get grossed out by the fact that when they're doing that to animals and eating them and doing the same thing doesn't bother you, and it's such a genius concept.
And to be fair, every subgenre of horror has spun off from another pre-existing genre of horror, and it is very obvious that the torture porn subgenre spun off from slasher. Like, there is really no way that you can say that it came from some other subgenre of horror.
I agree, and I think it's the first one.
It's a slasher where the victim can't run.
I will agree with you. This Texas Chainsaw was the slasher that absolutely gave the torture porn subgenre a chance at life later on.
Correct.
I think it took until guys like Eli Roth came on the scene to really legitimize it.
And I do love me some Eli Roth.
But I think that, if Texas Chainsaw never happened, Saw would have never happened.
I agree.
And furthermore, with that idea of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, let's remember something else. Other than maybe In Cold Blood, which, wherever you put that, is this not the first film, Texas Chainsaw, that you say based on true events? Isn't that interesting? Now I don't have my whole history there.
Isn't it actually up for debate how much of it is actually true?
Well, it is based on a lot of William Gacy.
Well, to be fair,
know that.
So to be entirely fair to that definition, Cool Runnings was based on true events. That doesn't mean that it was right.
But other than In Cold Blood, this is one of the first times you see a major horror movie where they use that. And then it was reused again and again and again and again, based on a true story, based on a true story, based on a true story. And that's genius right there.
Yeah.
The other thing about Chainsaw Massacre is, again, it gives you the iconic Leatherface.
Which is... Leatherface is right up there with the Michael Myers mask, the Jason mask,
Freddy Krueger. They're all up there.
There's certain aesthetics. There's certain iconic appearances that you just automatically associate with the slasher genre. Leatherface, without question, comes up very quickly when you're talking about that stuff.
Please, I know you're all going to be upset at this. My sister will really be upset at this. Don't pretend like Hannibal Lecter and Buffalo Bill were not influenced by Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Anyone who thinks that Thomas Harris wasn't thinking about Leatherface when he came up with the Buffalo Bill character is fooling themselves.
Put the lotion in the basket.
I agree.
Totally fooling themselves.
So, if we all can agree on why it deserves to be in the top 10, can we at least agree on where in the top 10?
I would agree in the top 3, personally. I think this is where Texas Chainsaw Massacre gets its following, gets its genius. I think this is it. Because you're not going to put it in any other category. It belongs in the slasher genre.
And the fact that of all the films that we have in our top 10, this one has made not just an impact on its own subgenre of horror, but has spun off other subgenres. That gives a lot more power because it has actually expanded the horror genre in more ways than just its own existence.
And I'm not convinced, and this is going to sound crazy and people are going to laugh at this, that it did not inspire the use by cartels to use chainsaws on people. I swear to God, I am convinced you never heard of chainsaw killings and stuff like that until after this freaking movie came out. They don't talk about Gacy ever using a chainsaw. They don't talk about it. How did the mafia used to chop people up? They didn't use freaking chainsaws. They used saws and axes and stuff. So you can't tell me, this is horrible for the youth of America, and I'm in this world, that this did not inspire things that you then saw in Scarface and other things like that, where people started using chainsaws to do murders and killings and stuff like that. I am fully, that is my belief, that this movie inspired that. Did you ever think of killing a person with a chainsaw before you see Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
So when I woke up this morning,
here we go.
I thought that there would be some soapbox moments during this live stream where some of us got up on our soapbox and stood for something and declared something. For the life of me, I didn't think it would be you standing on a soapbox saying, I swear to God, this is where this is where the cartels figured out that cutting up bodies with chainsaws.
I believe that. Do you not agree with that? Have you? I challenge anybody out there to look back in history and show me where you saw murders from chainsaws before Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out. In what year? 1970. What was it?
4, 5.
Hold on.
It was pretty early.
94. Oh wait, 74.
Yeah, 74.
What year was Chainsaw? I feel like it was 78.
Yeah, it was 74.
74. Okay, and another one for you. That means Texas Chainsaw Massacre was before Halloween.
Yep.
How crazy is that one for you?
So anybody?
When did the cartel and all that stuff start going on?
So anybody at home that's watching, if you guys,
Thank you.
So where are we placing this in the top 10?
I would put it at 3 or 2.
If anybody's a sports fan and watches baseball, you guys know when you see like a curveball and you see a batter's knees buckle and break? That's what just happened to me.
I just buckled you, didn't I? That was like him with little people. Like he buckled me, I just buckled you.
Yep.
I just buckled you.
I was sitting dead
Your
right and
mind
you
is
broke
like
my knees with a
your
curveball.
mind is just blown right now, isn't it?
You broke my knees.
Crazy,
with that
isn't it? Yeah.
So, where are we going with it?
I wouldn't
Where are
list
we
it
going? Where are we
later
going?
than 3.
So with
Personally.
the
You're
other
saying 2 or 3. You're saying what?
I think it's 2 because of the origin of the year it came out. Personally, that's my.
I have
issue.
another movie at my 2.
I know you do, but you're going to be wrong. You are 100% going to be wrong. And you want to know why you're going to be wrong?
Right.
You know why he's going to be wrong, Brad? Because that movie takes from too many of the movies that are on this list. And you cannot give it credit for being ahead of the movies that came up with the crap before they came up with the crap.
Even though it's from the director that started
Thank you.
the...
No, because it's not, because Chainsaw Massacre was before. How can you put a film that takes from that genre and stuff if it wasn't one of the original films?
But it doesn't take from Chainsaw. That's
It does actually.
It takes from others.
It still has Chainsaw in there. I'll spout some knowledge on you in a little bit.
Where do we put it? Mike? He's saying 2. You're saying...
Because I know what he wants it to. I know how desperately he wants it to. But I do not see how you can move it in front of Chainsaw.
Give me a number.
I'm going to say 3.
Ugh. What do you say, Brad? I know you know where I'm going with this.
I do.
I don't think you can reward a film.
I think Chainsaw, because of everything he did for the genre, does deserve the 2 spot.
Thank you.
You can't say that when
Yes,
we're about
you
to talk
can.
about the movie that...
You know what? When we get to that movie, we can have a discussion, and if you change our minds, I will be very honest and happily swap it. But you're going to really have to change my mind.
Okay.
Because right now, I'm set on it.
Since you brought up like the meat industry and everything like that,
Yes.
do you think Texas Chainsaw Massacre pulled from the 1906 book of the Jungle?
No, because my point... Well, you could, but I don't think that's where he was going with the film. I think if you look at the whole...
Pulled some inspiration from
What?
it, though?
I think you have inspiration from tons of things. I think there's always inspirations that come, but I think that his idea of what he was going for was a total political commentary
That's what the Jungle is, though.
But what is the Jungle's main premise?
It was talking about like immigrant conditions and everything like that, but the underlying part was looking at the meatpacking industry and the sanitary things that are going on there and the terrible things that happen within the industry.
I agree. I don't disagree. But had that been put on film yet?
I don't think so.
That's what I'm
why I was
saying.
asking,
So
do
you
think
take
that's-
something
that's
from a
what I was
book.
saying.
Oh, 100%
Yeah,
I
that's what
agree
I'm
with
saying.
you.
You think you pulled from the book? That's
Agree.
what I was
Oh,
asking.
I
Yeah.
think there's some there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I was
yeah,
asking about, yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm with you on that. I'm
Alright.
with you on that.
So next up, because we absolutely are not going to be allowed to go to anything else.
No, we can go to the
Well,
other one.
We can go to the other one where we already know where it's going to sit. Clearly.
Okay, well then, we'll leave the controversial
And we'll
one
come
for last. And next up, we will go with Wes Craven's New Nightmares.
Which you haven't seen.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, finally.
Oh, good. And you've seen it. Okay. Here is my... I would not have put any sequel on this list
I did.
that we were doing. Yes, I know you did. Because this movie, we talk about inspiring stuff. I believe that's why I'm not going to argue with it because I know I won't win. But this was the film that you're going to go on and bloviate about in a little while. And I still love it. This is what inspired that. This is what inspired... This was that movie before it came out. By the same director, which is why I can 100% confidently say that this is that movie before it came out, because only a genius like Wes Craven would have taken his own concept, his own idea, turned it on its back, refreshed it,
Right.
and made it about bringing it into the real world with his real characters,
Right.
and turning it into something that then was parodied, copied, done away with. And the only reason that everybody talks about the other movie that you're going to talk about is because we've got a lot of people, unfortunately, this was too advanced and smart for them before their time. And I believe that if he had brought this out about 5 to 10 years later, I think it would have totally caught on, been a huge genius move, and it would have had its rightful place. So those who don't know about New Nightmares, he takes the Freddy Krueger character, he decides to bring it into the real world, he plays himself, the actors play themselves, Robert Englund plays himself, and he takes all that crap with Freddy that had become this cheesy, silly, lunchbox, whatever you want to call it, and he says, this is not what I intended, this is not what was supposed to happen, I'm going to go back to its origins, but I can't just remake Nightmare on Elm Street, because that's not Wes Craven. Who the hell would do that? He says, I'm going to take my story and turn it on its head with a genius idea, and this movie is legitimately scary as crap. Like, that's the thing. You see Robert Englund playing himself, he is scary as hell in this movie. Like, Heather Langenkamp is better in this than she was as Nancy in the original movie. I would even put this ahead of Nightmare on Elm Street, but you just can't.
Really?
You just can't, because you have to give credit to the original genre of what he did, but it's, in many ways, I think it's a better movie. I think it's a better movie. Yes, I would rather watch New Nightmares than watch the original Nightmare on Elm Street. I think New Nightmares is scarier than the original Nightmare on Elm Street, because I think Freddy is scarier in this movie than Nightmare on Elm Street. And I think it is terrifying to see the guy with the makeup off having a conversation. This is also the first movie I've ever seen where he's writing the script, having the conversation with the character, and then it says fade to black, and then the thing fades to black. There's so many genius moments in this movie, I can't even begin to tell you. Like John Saxon playing himself, and then all of a sudden they go through that moment where she realizes she has to play Nancy one more time, and he calls her Nancy, and she's like, why are you calling me Nancy, John? Why are you calling me John, Nancy? And I'm like, this is genius, like the writing, the music, the whole, it's so brilliant, it was so before its time.
Okay.
Sorry, that's my, I love this movie.
I
love this movie. This is one of my top 20 horror films of all time. I'm really serious about that. I love this movie.
So you have gone on many
Well,
a soapbox
considering the fact
rants
that we're
about
in the
this film.
top 10, I hope it would be in your top 20.
No, but it is. Yeah, but Happy Death Day wouldn't. And I like Happy Death Day, but it wouldn't be in my top 20 of horror films of all time. This is
I
slasher,
understand.
right? Like, this is
they're
like,
slashers.
this would be in my top 20 list because it was so genius on so many levels.
Alright, fair.
He's yawning. You got a problem. There's the baby coming through.
There he is.
There it is. Come on, sexual chocolate, rev up, baby.
Do you need another one?
Go ahead. There you go. Who's in? Who's copying on that? Who's coming through?
What?
New Nightmares. I just went on my soapbox.
Look, there's a lot of things that you say in that I agree with 100%.
Yeah.
I think more so than anything, it was literally like, this was the creator looking at like his creation and like, look at the joke that they've made it. Like, Freddy Krueger running around saying, "Time to die, bitch."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what the hell did they do to my creation?
So ridiculous.
Okay, fine. If anybody's gonna have to, like, this was literally, if anybody's gonna say Freddy, it's gonna be me.
Right. And he didn't just cheat his way out of it.
No.
He came up with a totally original concept in order to. He did
I
something no one
completely
else
agree.
ever done.
I think, and look, you say putting it ahead of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, like, I don't totally hate that concept. I really don't.
I think it is. The only reason I can't put it ahead of it is because without Nightmare on Elm Street, there is no Wes Craven's New Nightmares. But I also think that he came up with something totally original off of something that he already came up with original. And how many people can do that with the same series? That's so crazy. That the same director can come up with something and you go, there's no way he could come up with something more original than what he came up with. And then he goes, oh, actually I can. And then he brings back the original actors. I mean, that's genius.
Yep.
It's genius.
But not Johnny Depp.
Thank God. But he did bring back Johnny Depp. Oh, because he is still a producer on Nightmare 6 and Johnny Depp has a cameo in the TV screen.
Yep.
He had already done that. Why bring back Johnny Depp again? Yep. Forgot about that. Touche, right? There you go. See, you taught me something about little people. I taught you something about cameos and Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp could also be considered a little person. He's pretty little.
Now,
I mean, he is. He's like 5'6". I've seen
now
the guy.
for the sake of
He and Tom Cruise can ride the big rides.
fine.
But
But they're gonna make hundreds of millions of
But you're not Johnny Depp. You're a good size for a female. We're talking about men. I'm sorry. I'm just getting myself into trouble. I won't have a job tomorrow. It's a good thing, you know, I'm the most watched person that I watch your side. It's okay. You're going to need to delete this.
This is live, sir.
he's 5'10".
No, he is. Who's lying? Wikipedia's lying. I
Who's
have met
lying?
that guy. I have met that man in person. If he's 5'10", Mike is a Heisman winning quarterback. Okay, like, there is no way that dude is 5'10". Not in a million years. You ever seen the picture of him and Amber Heard?
Maybe he wears lifts.
Lifts, exactly. When he had that, he was wearing
Tom
lifts.
Cruise
What do they list Tom Cruise as in there?
Hold on.
He's got the Tom Cruise special going.
Tom Cruise was one by me at a Broadway show, and I swear to God, it was like this.
Well, he's
Like
only,
I
what,
started
5'5"?
laughing.
Cruz is only 5'5", isn't he?
I don't even know what he is.
I
Okay,
think
so
he's
go ahead.
5'6".
Did you want to say something in this? I know you're very high on this movie.
I am. I genuinely like it, but
Thank you. Amber Heard is 5'7".
Yeah, that's what.
There is zero
But wait.
chance that Johnny Depp is 5.
She also wears heels.
I was about to
That's
say, she's
my
wearing
point,
heels.
and she towers over this guy.
I have heels that are 5 inches tall that make me almost as tall as Mike, and I'm 5'3".
Okay, where were you going here? Trust me on this one with Johnny Depp.
so
He can't outright Space Mountain. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, New Nightmares to me really was well done. My only thing here is trying to compare it to the next movie that we have to talk about. I still feel like the next movie comes ahead of New Nightmares, because while the next movie pulled a lot from New Nightmares, which is absolutely true, it did some other things that was unique to it. It played on more aspects of the slasher genre than New Nightmares did, and it did it with a completely new IP rather than trying to bring back an old one, which I think gives it more strength for its creativity. But I think that New Nightmares was fantastic and really was one of the best things that John Carpenter,
Easy.
that Wes Craven.
Wes Carpenter, if you go by the next film you're going to talk about. That was good, though. You know what? I don't mind you doing
Has never
that
done.
because they both belong in the same category.
Oh, yeah, no.
So I don't have
So,
a problem.
no, those-
if you
those guys-
had said Joss Whedon, we would have been like fighting.
No,
Yeah, you heard what I. Or
like
JJ.
I think Wes Craven and John Carpenter, when it comes to horror directors, honestly are neck and neck in my book.
Yes.
Like, to me, it is really hard to separate which one is better because they both contributed so much to the genre.
And they both did more than just the same thing over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
they
Which you can say George Romero, who I love,
Yeah.
George Romero I love, but he had a very clear vision of who he was and what he was doing. You could say that with some of the other horror directors out there. These two are the originals of the originals.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I will say that it deserves its top 10 placement, but the number 3 spot,
I would agree.
It needs that unique creativity to justify top
So
3.
New Nightmares at number 6.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with that. I love that movie. You know what? And I will say, we're going to bring it into this next one because this is a fascinating part of it.
Well, were we going to do honorable mentions first?
Oh, that's right.
I don't think we got time.
No,
We've
I don't
already
think we
been
have
going for an
time,
hour
Mike.
45.
You can list your honorable mentions. We just won't talk about them.
Well, okay. I mean, we can
Go ahead,
we can all list them.
List them.
The
Go.
ones
Just
that didn't make
go
the
through.
list.
I can tell you mine was Black Christmas.
Mhm.
I urge everyone to go see it. It's a really lost film, and if you love The Christmas Story, it would be great trivia knowledge for you to know that Bob Clark, who directed The Christmas Story, did Black Christmas, I believe, 7 or 8, maybe 9 years after Black Christmas. He did The Christmas Story, which everyone watches and is, one of their favorite things. And Christmas Story also has a dark little twist in it. It's not just the happy, happy, happy movie. Black Christmas is awesome. I would also challenge you to see Silent Night, Deadly Night. Not a great film, but a great slasher movie.
You want to go ahead and list yours real quick?
You go ahead. I need to re-pull mine.
Go ahead, Mike.
Sure. So my honorable mentions: April Fool's Day.
Again, not a great film, but a slasher movie. Yeah.
A great slasher movie, and it's kind of a lost film.
I would agree with that.
It's a nice little trope of it's very cheesy. It's very
So
over the
campy.
top. It is.
So campy.
It absolutely is. But
Yeah.
that's kind of what the slasher genre was at that time
Right.
for a lot of them.
Okay.
Plus, does have that nice little twist that I
Okay.
really like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
Let me
the only,
help
yeah.
you out.
Thank you. So that's the only one. That and then the 2018 Halloween are the only ones of mine that didn't make it.
I think that is a. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't want to.
No, you're fine.
Tell you why you think that Halloween movie.
Dude, so for everything that the Halloween franchise had become, for every horrible thing that Rob Zombie did to it, every awful thing that Rob Zombie did to it, Danny McBride and his little writing troupe literally got their hands on it and presented it to John Carpenter, who said, "This is absolutely amazing," and this brought it back to what the Halloween franchise started as, even with Halloween 2. This brought it back to the traditional slasher genre feel. This made the character terrifying again, and this is one of the best slasher movies to come out in the last decade.
I don't disagree with any of that. I loved Halloween, and we talked about this. And
We
talked
saw
about
it together.
We
with
saw it together.
friends.
I love Halloween. I think it's great. But you want to know what my biggest issue with this is? I don't think it's the second best Halloween movie in the whole thing.
Oh God! I swear to God, if you're about to
No,
say that,
I'm not going to say Halloween 3.
Okay.
I'm keeping in the Michael Myers world. We know
Are you
I
gonna
love
say
Halloween
Are
3.
you going to say the original?
I'm going to
Halloween
say, no. I'm going to
H2O.
say Halloween
No, he
4.
hates H2O.
Halloween 4 is one of the most underrated slasher movies of all time.
That was the one
With Danielle Harris as
yeah.
the little girl,
Yeah.
and that stuck to the... Because here's what you have to remember. Halloween 2018
Yep.
ignored everything that came after the first
original,
one.
right.
Halloween 4 took what they had done through the second one, which was John Carpenter's story,
Right.
and then took it to the next level of the family and the
Right,
niece
right.
and all that. And I actually think when you go back and watch that, that has a lot of the feeling of the first Halloween, even more so than the second one. And I really like that movie, and
Yeah.
it's very underrated. And the only reason I don't put Halloween 2018 on that list is the same reason why I wouldn't put a sequel that is not a totally original spin on it like New Nightmares, I wouldn't put any sequels on this list. I just wouldn't put them on the list. They don't, because it demeans, it takes down the effectiveness of the other films we have on that list. You wouldn't give a credit to somebody like for, okay, I love Dream Warriors. I love Dream Warriors, Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
But to say that and take that particular position
Not that it can't
is
be.
to say that sequels are incapable of showing the same kind of creativity and originality that the original had.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that...
And to that, I will always come back with Empire.
Correct. I don't disagree with you.
Aliens.
But you know what you would never say to me? You would say Empire Strikes Back is a better film than the first one. You wouldn't say Empire Strikes...
I would.
Oh,
I would.
No. I'm saying you would say Empire Strikes Back, I would also, is a better film than the first one. But without the first one, all of it, you can't say the first time you saw those cuts, the first time you saw those camera shots, the first time you saw any of that was Star Wars New Hope. And the reason that you went back and loved Empire was that he kept that style, kept that character building, kept everything, and built onto it from there. So my point is, I agree with you. I think Empire Strikes Back is a better movie. I think Halloween 2018 is a it is a dedication to the fans. Similar to what J.J. Abrams does with a lot of his stuff, it is a homage to John Carpenter.
I think that,
based on what he
I think that it is possible to have a sequel rank ahead of the original.
Would you rank that ahead of the original, Halloween 2018?
In that case, no. But I would say that in general, to say categorically that within great franchises, the original always has to rank higher than any.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
I would say
I agree with you. There can be better, without a doubt. Godfather 2, in my opinion, is better than Godfather 1.
the same reason that you put New Nightmares on your list is the same reason that I put 2018 on my list.
But I think New Nightmares is a completely original concept. I think Halloween 2018 is so a love letter to John Carpenter and the first one.
Agreed.
That I think that I would challenge you, as much as I like 2018, I would challenge you to actually do it frame by frame, watch what they do, and even though I love it, it's not a great movie like the first one. It's just not. It's not the same lighting, it's not the same character build-up, it's not... The sheriff is not as good as the original sheriff. The characters kind of suck except for Lori, and I find what's her name annoying as hell in it. I think the doctor angle on it is ridiculous. It's like a bad Loomis, and then he puts the mask on in the car, and he looks like a moron.
See, I completely argue.
Those bothered me. Those scenes bothered me in that movie. Did that not bother you when he puts on that stupid thing going,
See, I completely agree with you. I thought that was brilliant because it's what everybody had been trying to do for the 25 to 30 years leading up to that. It was trying to humanize the character and trying to give character a reason as to why he did what he did. And they were like, no, he has no reason.
But that's what
just
Halloween 4 did, with Loomis being like, this is evil, you can't be, it's like Loomis coming back burnt, and they're still trying to justify it and do whatever, and he's like, this man is
Yeah.
I don't know, we don't have to keep on it, was honorable, but that was my issue with it. We got you give your honorable mentions. I'm gonna laugh at one of these. This is gonna show you the phobia Brad has. I can't wait.
I never said I had the phobia.
Oh, no, you do after you list this one. Go ahead and list it.
Oh my gosh.
Here it comes. This explains so much.
So I really only have 2 honorable mentions on mine, which was Friday the 13th Part 2.
Right.
Because Jason was actually introduced.
Makes perfect sense.
Even if the first one was the better movie, the franchise wouldn't exist without Part 2.
I completely get that.
And second...
Is that a good thing?
I'm going to try. He's about to break me.
What's your turn to
Say it with a straight face.
Yeah.
Say it with a straight face.
The second...
There is zero chance this is not because of your Star Wars and love and whatever. There is zero chance. I know where this came from.
Oh, no.
Somewhere in your cerebral cortex. I
didn't find out till after the fact who played them. Oh, good lord.
Yep. Go ahead, Brett.
Is it?
Leprechaun.
I stole my pot of gold.
To be fair, it is a
You have a problem with little people.
it
It's a phobia.
is a fantastic slasher film.
I loved Leprechaun.
That, as cheesy as it can
Oh,
be,
God.
was actually very well done. I think it was actually very well done. It had some super cheesy
Jennifer
moments.
Aniston scream. It was only up from there.
Wow.
Couldn't go anywhere else.
And I like the original Leprechaun.
Space. It went to space. That's where how up it went.
And the hood.
Yeah,
No, that came back down. To the
and oh! He can say that because he's sexual chocolate.
No. Hood came after space.
Okay, but you're
So,
not really being serious with this.
Actually,
you're
I-
trying
I-
to get a rise out
I
of us.
genuinely love Leprechaun.
You love Leprechaun more than
I-
Psycho.
I genuinely love Leprechaun.
Yep.
I will watch a back-to-back Leprechaun 1 and 2.
Oh no, he
anytime.
stuck the second one in there. You know, that's okay.
Oh,
I
the
love
sec-
Monster
The
Squad.
second one is cheesy as hell.
Oh yes, but
And
it's
the
a
first
lot of
one's
fun.
Absolutely.
I love Monster Squad. Wolfman's Got Nards. Okay, I love that film, but I would never try to put it on a top 10 list and take it seriously. It's a great honorable mention. Warwick is proud of you. He is so proud of you.
All right,
now.
and back to the list.
And how much money has he made from that franchise over the years?
Oh my God, unbelievable. I did forget, by the way, about one of my other honorable mentions, Candyman.
Yes.
Man.
Tony Todd.
I would please go see that movie. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't see the second one, but
No.
Candyman, the
No.
original, please go see that movie.
So to move on to the last movie on our list,
Here
so
we
that we
go.
actually have a shot at finishing.
Here we
Definitely
go.
not before 2 hours, but at least
Sweet
finish.
Jesus, for real?
Yeah. It's,
We're at
it's
156.
Oh my God.
No, we're good. We can make this
16.
quick. We can do it.
Scream. Not 2 or 3 or even 4 for lack of your preference.
Yeah, by the way, I just want to point out that the last Scream has left me because of Mike Rookwood and his family scarred
Oh, God.
for life. I've never been more terrified than when I saw that movie. That's a story for off camera. I saw something that night that I can never unsee. It was scarier than anything on the screen.
We'll talk later.
And it had to do
Did
with,
Mike actually get a hug?
no. Somebody in his family got a lot more than a hug that night.
You know she watches this.
And shout out to you. You know who you are. I love you. But there's nothing like telling Mike to turn around at the exact right moment, and he can't get that image out of his head for the rest of his life. It's one of the biggest achievements I've ever had. I've never seen a grown human being kiss a little person. It was a little person. He looked like a little hobbit. Oh my God. Love you. I don't know who the little person was, but I know who the other person was that connected with Mike. So, Mike, why don't you talk about your, without a doubt, one of your favorite movies of all time?
Scream.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to get back on.
Directed by the great Wes Craven.
Directed by the great Wes Craven.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Written by the overrated Kevin Williamson.
You shut your goddamn mouth.
There he goes again. He's always going to.
I'm going to make y'all swear.
No, Kevin Williamson is amazing.
Yeah, he really proved that with I Know What You Did Last Summer. One can't imagine why that's not on any of our lists.
Actually, Brad, you want to speak up?
I debated.
Oh God! The only reason he did that is because of Jennifer Love Hewitt's cleavage. Okay,
Actually, no.
go on.
Actually, no. It's because even though it is a stupidly cheesy movie,
Stupid, so bad.
it is so quintessential slasher. I will watch that
But
movie
it's
anytime.
so bad. Of course you will.
I
And
know.
you watch it like this.
No, that's me. Moving on.
I know for a fact that it is bad, but I love it. To me, it is the horror movie equivalent of Starship Troopers. I know it's bad.
Okay, that's
but
fair.
damn it, I will watch it every chance
Johnny
I get.
Rico.
Johnny
Okay,
Rico.
okay. Go,
You make it to live forever.
Make sure you're doing your part.
But because
Yeah, that's right.
I know and accept that it is a genuinely bad movie, I couldn't in good conscience put it on my top 10.
Have you ever watched that film with anyone else? And I'm done.
Oh,
Go ahead, Mike.
Yes, I have.
I left that to the imagination of everyone. Wasn't that beautiful? See, that's how you keep it PG. Go ahead. Come on, dude.
Wow.
Let's go. Tell us about your favorite movie of all time.
That's not my favorite movie of all
It's
time.
definitely in your top 5. I say
mean, it's
that.
up there. It
See?
is way
Told
up
you.
there.
Go ahead. Come on.
It's not in yours?
No!
How is it not?
Just tell us about the film. People want to hear from you.
Cool. So, thanks. Appreciate that.
What'd they do?
So, Scream. Okay, so you are very high on New Nightmares. Because of what it did for the character of Freddy Krueger in that franchise before it.
Absolutely.
Everything that you said about that, Scream did for the entire genre.
Did for the entire genre or paid homage to the entire genre?
Both. It made fun of the tropes of past.
It's brilliant writing.
It is.
Brilliant writing.
By the overrated Kevin Williamson. By the way, don't let Ross hear you say that. He will come after you.
I don't believe for a... Do you want to know? I feel the same way about giving Kevin Williamson the credit for Scream that I give to Tobe Hooper for Poltergeist with Steven Spielberg. I do not believe for a half second that Wes Craven was not behind.
Yes, we
the
literally had a massive
majority.
discussion about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
was not behind the majority.
But no.
Scream.
In all
Don't you
seriousness-
agree? Part of that with Brad. Does that not have Wes Craven written all over it? And here's my point: did Kevin Williamson write New Nightmares?
No.
So Wes Craven didn't need him for that.
No.
Did he write Nightmare on Elm Street?
No.
No, Wes Craven didn't need him for that. Did he do anything with Wes Craven until Scream?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
So
So
I
that was
hear
the
what
first-
you're saying,
that was
but
the
when
first-
Kevin Williamson was left to go off on his own without Wes Craven, he made a lot and wrote a lot of absolute horrible crap.
Hey, 100% right. But when they came back,
It's like
together,
Belichick without Parcells, baby.
Shut your mouth.
Sorry, Brett, I had to let him do that. Okay, but seriously, yeah.
When they came back together for 4.
It was horrible. That was one of the worst screams of all time.
So there's the door.
I don't
Get the
care.
hell out.
Just because you had a bleep on for Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven does not change the fact that the weakest film of that series is number 4.
No, it's 3.
No, it's 3.
No, I still think it's 4.
Oh, get out.
I think 4 was a joke.
Get out.
3 was absolutely the weakest.
Wait. I gotta see what's on the last page of the script. Gets blown up in the house.
Yeah, and 4 was like almost unwatchable at times. I mean, I'm with you. I don't think 3 was that great, but at least 3 gave you like old Hollywood. Carrie Fisher makes an appearance. You get
And so Jay and Silent Bob.
You get
Because they fit into that universe somehow.
Listen, the bottom line
They
is
fit into all the
all
universes.
universes.
That's true.
Are you telling me that you got any joy out of number 4?
Yeah.
Really? You got joy? You think it's a good movie?
Absolutely.
Oh God.
I think especially for what it did. So what Scream 1 did for the
Okay,
genre.
keep on talking about one.
So what Scream 1 did for the genre was it saved it. It 100% saved it. It took all of the tropes that all of the movies coming out in the mid to late 90s at that point were doing, and even the late 80s,
Yeah.
and it basically said, hey, you guys are always laughing at like when the dumb girl runs upstairs when everybody knows she should run outside, and
Right.
you do all of this.
Right.
They took all of those, they spun them on their head, called them out, still used them in a smart, satirical way.
Right.
They completely flipped the whole star actress thing on her head when
Yeah.
they killed Drew Barrymore 10 minutes
Brilliant.
into the movie.
Brilliant.
Rose McGowan, gone.
Brilliant.
But let's also not forget all of the people that this film launched, too.
Oh, I agree with that.
Like, fantastic cast.
Yep.
You also even had...
Let's talk about where all those careers have gone.
That's true.
It launched and they've all burned down.
Yeah.
Literally all of them
And then-
have burned down except for maybe Campbell. She might have been the only one to survive. She really might
She's
have.
also had a
Matthew
couple.
Lillard.
She's had a couple of
Shaggy.
comebacks.
Okay, Matthew Lillard Shaggy is now going on, 20 years ago or something? Have you seen what that dude does now?
God, has it been that long? He still,
Yes,
he
it's been-
still does the voice of Shaggy.
Great. Congratulations. Okay,
I mean, steady paycheck.
I am in 100% agree with everything you're saying.
But then on top of all of that,
Yeah.
more so what it did was, like I said, it took the past and it's like we're not going to make it better. We're going to call out all of the flaws,
Right.
but we're also going to do it in a way that makes fun of the flaws,
Got it.
but still pays homage to everything that came before it.
I agree with everything you just said. Do you want to know my biggest problem with Scream?
Sure.
I love Scream. Loved it. And when I saw Scream and this came out for the first time, I was, what year was Scream?
1996.
1996. So I want to take you back.
So it's
1996, you were how old?
Oh, we're going that.
You
We're
were
going
not.
that way.
How old were you?
we're the same age.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, I didn't know. I didn't know if you guys were the same exact class. 96, I was a junior in high school.
Right.
And you're coming from someone, you know me well enough to know, I grew up on horror movies. My brother brought me up on horror movies. So all of this incredible stuff that I grew up with, and the ones before my time that I had watched, Scream was bringing it all back. And I loved it because really at that point, to be fair, the horror genre or the slasher genre was really dead. It really was dead. Because New Nightmares, as brilliant as it was that it came before, it didn't catch on with the crowd. And I was like, this sucks.
And
like,
how soon before Scream did New Nightmares come?
No, Scream was after. Scream was 2 years, I think, after. Right. So my point is, like, that's why I think that for Wes Craven, he was the only one that could bring the genre back. John Carpenter was going through his writer's block. You know, Cameron was on his way to going through his writer's block a year later after Titanic.
Yeah.
And a lot of the horror things had gotten stale, it had gotten old, they didn't have anything new. This is before you have the found footage thing that then took off very soon after. So in many ways, horror had become a joke at that point. And I lived through some pretty dark times. And Scream brought it back in a big way. Here's my problem with Scream. You're now talking about a film that is 23 years old. I love it. I go back and watch it. Unfortunately, it has not stood well with the test of time because of everything that has come after it. If you go back and watch the original Scream now, I promise you, when is the last time you watched it from start to finish? Start to finish, not just to see.
Less than a year ago.
Okay, when's the last time you watched it? Less than a year ago? It probably brings back great memories for you. The problem is if you show that film to a 15 or 16-year-old now, who that movie was intended for along with maybe a little bit older at the time, they don't get it, they don't understand it, they don't like it as much. They don't think it's what I thought it was, what you guys thought it was.
Does that take away from the brilliance of it, though?
Yes,
Why?
Because I think that the majority of films on that list that we just had, and I wouldn't put Scream any lower than what you're talking about, I'm just telling you this is my problem. You watch Halloween 1 right now and you show that to anybody, they're going to be genuinely like blown away a little bit with
So
Halloween.
I will tell you right now,
if you're talking that 15, 16-year-old crowd, I think they will absolutely bomb on Halloween.
No,
I think
because I have nephews and nieces. Who watched it and thought it was genius.
So I will tell you right now that
you can't really say that any child that you helped.
No, I haven't done anything. They don't like horror movies. That's a brilliant. They don't even like horror movies. They like the movie.
I will tell you, my sister
Yeah.
saw that movie when she was 18.
Who? What movie?
Halloween.
Okay.
And thought it was one of the worst films she's ever seen.
But 18 is different than seeing it when you're in your life.
Any child that you've helped brainwash doesn't really count as a unbiased audience.
Do you think that Scream has honestly withstood the test of time?
Yes.
Legitimately?
Yes.
See, I don't.
I had one of my students watch it.
I'm telling you, I think Happy Death Day. Here's my thing. You took Happy Death Day.
Not like with how the film was written, but like laughing at it like this is stupid is how they
yes, because they don't get the jokes. They don't understand the context for a lot of it. They wouldn't even understand Wes Carpenter if you said that today. Right. That Wes Carpenter joke that is so genius, right? They wouldn't even get it. And the things where it's like, they use the terms like Lomas. They use the music from Halloween and scenes. Brilliant, genius stuff that Craven did. Them seeing Rose McGowan throwing beer bottles at the killer while we're laughing and sneaking through a garage door trying to get through and then him killing him like that, or the scene with like him talking about Norman Bates in Psycho and Matthew Little doing his stuff. People the age she's talking about would look at that and be like, this is the stupidest crap. Do I think it's the stupidest crap? No, but it doesn't stand the test of time. I think with the genius, I think Happy Death Day they would relate to more and say, but that's not as good as Happy Death Day. Okay, and I'm not saying that's fair or unfair. I'm just saying I think that's reality.
But then that's more so an indictment on the audience.
Do you not think, is it though?
Absolutely.
It is. Because
how many of those
very
same kids would go see that Countdown movie and be like, oh my god, that's really scary.
Yes, but here's my difference. Mike, you were born after Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
You're right.
You go back and watch that movie. Does it matter at all that you were born well after Chainsaw Massacre and you still see the genius in it?
So I will tell you right now, the first time I saw Texas Chainsaw, I fell asleep halfway through.
Right, and when did you go back and watch it again?
A couple years later.
And then what happened 2 years later?
I thought it was good.
Okay, you thought it was good.
I honestly,
Yeah.
not in my top 5.
Well, that's okay if it's not in your top 5, but you thought it was good.
I thought it was good.
So here's the thing that
But Scream is a genre-saving film.
But here's the thing that.
But the genre has so changed now after
But
Scream.
here's
That's
here's
the
the part that you are not taking into consideration
Right.
by saying that a younger audience wouldn't appreciate Scream. Scream is not and has never really been meant to be a movie that was completely appreciated in a vacuum.
Until they made all those sequels. See, I'm taking it as the very
No,
first, before we're like, now we're going to make 2, and then you're taking it totally independent.
No, I'm saying, as a slasher, yes, a standalone slasher, you can easily look at it as, it's okay, it's not that terribly special, it's okay, but if you have context of the rest of the genre, that's when it becomes great. And even back when it was first made, you were not going to have anybody that has never seen a slasher film before watch Scream and say, this is fantastic, because there's a lack of context. Scream is the kind of movie that requires prior context to fully appreciate, no matter the age of the audience, no matter when it is watched, because it is meant to be appreciated after you already understand the history that has come before. There are always going to be certain movies that, while great within the genre, are only great because of the history of the genre and knowing what that history was prior to
I
it.
agree, like New Nightmares. I agree.
You will never be able, there are certain movies that you will never be able to fully appreciate or be able to get an audience to say, yes, this was good, unless they have prior context.
Now, can I...
Scream is something that
I
you
agree.
have to
So
have.
here's the thing. So pull the big board out. You said what you had to say about Scream? Or you saw more?
Like he said, it's a movie that has to be appreciated in the context of everything that came before it.
It's like
And you're talking about somebody that loves this, by the way.
I know.
You know I love this movie, but I'm about
Scary
to
movie.
buckle you again.
Scary movie. Can you fully appreciate Scary Movie?
Without Scream.
No. If you've never seen a horror movie in your life.
Dude, I'll do you one
You've
even
never
better.
even had
I
context.
still don't appreciate Scary Movie.
But the idea of a parody in
Right.
general.
I agree.
Can you appreciate
And
a
Scream
parody?
is a parody. That's what's
I
even
know.
more genius.
Can you appreciate a parody if you've never had context of the thing it's parodying?
No. I agree.
Could you ever appreciate Spaceballs if you've never seen Star Wars? Like,
Of course not.
Yeah.
like really.
Of course not. Without Star
Really
Wars, there's no
appreciate it.
Spaceballs.
Okay.
You could find it funny, but could you
Fair,
actually, within full context,
No, of course not.
understand and appreciate
Of course
the
not.
entire movie?
Of course not.
Like, you can appreciate the jokes. There are certain jokes that you'll always be able to go back at Spaceballs and laugh at
But I
because
think-
they're just good on their
I
own.
think, but can I ask you something? I think every movie on
But
this
could they
list.
appreciate something like The Schwartz?
No, but no. I'm
Without
saying, but like,
No.
I'm saying I have kids who like
But
that movie but haven't seen
The
it.
two
yeah.
points I'm going to
That's
make for
interesting.
this are this: Friday the 13th, Happy Death Day, You're Next, Child's Play,
Sure.
Psycho,
Mm-hmm.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm-hmm.
What does that say? Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
I'm a little out of it. Sorry, I'm
You're
looking at the screen. And
You're good,
Halloween are the movies on this list
Mhm.
that anybody can watch and appreciate without putting it in context of anything else. Scream, New Nightmares. Both of those on this list cannot be appreciated without the context of something else. You can watch it, but you'd probably be sitting there going, I'm not sure how great of a movie that, you know what I mean? You need the context. The others are all independently made, their own story,
Sure.
that have nothing to do with the premise off of anything else, which brings me to
I will
that was
argue
my point
Your
with that.
Next is another one that while you could appreciate it without ever having seen another horror movie or another slasher movie, having the context of the other slasher films and knowing what the genre
Enriches it.
is what really gives it something to latch onto.
Got it.
Because without having seen a
You don't
slasher
think it's as
film,
good of a movie?
I think it's going to fall flat because you're going to have people, if that is your first slasher film to ever watch, I think Your Next is going to fall flat because you're going to have a lot of people look at it and go, well, what's the point of this? This seems like, well, yeah, why wouldn't you be doing this stuff? Like, it seems like everything she's doing is common sense.
Right.
But the second you have context of the slasher genre, you can go, this is creative. This is interesting.
True. I have the question that's going to buckle you.
Okay.
While we've been sitting, I swear to God, I did not think of this until we were sitting here having this very short conversation about everything. Here's my question for these two geniuses that I love being on their pod. Looking at that list and realizing that the only film on that list that has been made in the last
10 years.
10 years, have we unfortunately witnessed the death of the slasher film? And how much will that absolutely either depress you,
Well, how many? Well,
make
no,
you think about
there's
it?
two.
Well, there's two in the last 10 years.
And that's Happy Death Day, which
And you're next.
we agreed, and you're next. And we could argue that
They are
Happy Death Day isn't like the others. One of these is not like the other.
neither one of those are pure
slasher movies.
They are the evolution of the
evolution of the slasher
And to be
movie.
fair, though, it's not just the slasher genre. Most aspects of the horror genre across the board aren't what they originally were.
Correct.
I think every subgenre of horror has evolved into having a new foundation for what the genre now relies on, that you can't really say it is the same thing. Like, even the torture porn genre, you can't really call this the same genre that it was in its origins.
And even Halloween,
just
the remake
can't.
that you guys talked about, is not really your typical, like, that mixes in what you talk about, survivalist, continues on, I don't know what they're going to do with these upcoming two films that they're going to be making with it. I would urge you to see Hellfest, everyone out there and you guys, because I think that's the closest to that slasher thing that's come out, and of course it got no legs, and it's very sad, and I feel like the majority of my life I've seen some really good slasher films over the years that never get any legs when people try to do more of that originality, but that's been my biggest concern.
Now, you asked us something earlier. You said, is the horror genre, or is the slasher genre dead?
Right.
Now, could you then argue that the horror genre in general?
No, because I liked what Brad said. It's evolved.
Now, let me ask
So,
you
like,
this.
we laugh at Countdown, or we talk about, like, films like Unfriended, or so. There have been certain ones that they've done a very good job with,
So
and it
then let
uses
me
modern-day
counter-
technology and
so
things
then
like
let me
that.
counter-
It follows.
I will say
you
that
know, like,
I will
So
say
then
that
let
I
me
feel
ask-
that
let
the
me
horror
counter
genre is
this.
in something of a slump.
Well, then, so
Like, there
let me
are
counter-
more bombs in the horror genre now than there are successes by comparison to past decades.
And don't you think one of the reasons for that is because what do they always have to do? They always have to take you back. Stranger Things has to go back to the glory years of that. Other films, because technology has become, it's so hard to make it real without, oh, now the phone's going to kill you, or this, or something,
Well, so
that it's like, that you have to, like, go to a place where your phone signal doesn't work in order, to make it all work and do what it is.
Well,
And that's a problem, because they haven't come up with original enough ideas to make you scared.
So then let me pose the question this way then.
And this is the last question, because we're definitely over time.
We're
Is
over it.
the smart horror movie dying?
I mean, I've been impressed with certain films that have come out.
But you're always impressed because they're few and far between.
Yeah, but you also have to understand, you could also say that in the day of, okay, Scream comes out, and then I know You Did Last Summer, but there was so much crap
that wasn't a
that came
smart
out
horror.
after that. Blair Witch Project, which was a very smart horror movie, and totally brought in a whole new genre and generation. They made 50 films that sucked from the found footage and all this kind of crap. So you've been dealing with that forever. After Halloween comes out, they make a million movies. There's so much crap
So then,
that they made. But I think what you're saying is, who is the new Carpenter?
No,
Who is the new Craven?
Here's what I'm saying. So you are willing to say that it's on life support, but it's not dead. The smart horror film.
I don't
correct?
think it's on life support.
I-
I think because you have Get Out that
Okay.
comes
So
out.
I will say
So then
this.
I will say it's because of that film.
That it's on life support?
No, that it's still alive.
No.
Yes.
So-
1,000%.
So here's what
1,000%.
Here's what-
He pointed to Scream 1996. That's why it's still alive. I don't see how you can say that because I think that you could argue that Get Out redeemed the horror genre.
So when it
After
comes,
Scream.
so when it comes to these both
Blair Witch after Scream.
when it comes to the
You're
smart
next after Scream.
horror films, but more importantly, the smart slashers. I think what we've seen in the last decade is a lot of attempts to keep going back to the well of what was a good horror movie,
Right.
and people are finding out exactly what you have so adequately pointed out, that modern horror films have a hard time being scary because of technology, and anybody that tries to lean into technology has a tendency to misunderstand how that's supposed to happen and just make it cheesy. But I think because of things like Get Out and Unfriended, I think...
And the new one that just came out that I loved. What was the one that just came out with the girl, the bride that marries and goes to the family and they're all trying to kill her?
That's the one that I brought up earlier.
Hide and Seek.
Oh, no. Ready or Not.
Ready or Not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ready or
I got
Not.
the
So
title.
I think that modern horror directors are starting to see a new class of directors come into their ranks. A new class of directors that grew up watching all these films. A new class of directors that learned the tropes of the horror movies, but at the same time actually understands how modern cinematography, modern movie storytelling exists and
Yes.
has evolved, and and I think over the next 10 years we are going to see a resurgence of the smart horror
You
film.
could be right, and I'll tell you what I would see, what I give credit more than Scream. I think Joker that just came out, you could argue that that is in many ways a horror movie. There's a ton of stuff in there that is used by horror film and contemporary and political conversations and stuff, and it's very rare that you get a movie, I'm not going to spoil anything, but you get a movie where people can walk out of like Joker, not feel good, not have some little nicely tight bow, and it makes all that money, and people don't have to feel great about themselves, and you go, that's what it used to be like.
I think that what's the new Jordan Peele movie?
Us?
Us. I think that Jordan Peele is the start of the new class of horror directors.
And it's
Between
interesting
Get
that
Out,
they're comedians.
between Get Out and Us.
And Halloween with McBride, another comedian, by the way.
I think that there's a new mindset that's being introduced to the genre that is going to really revitalize not just the horror genre as a whole, but each subgenre that is going to get its turn at being revitalized. The new Halloween, I think, got some fresh life put back into it. I think that...
I hope they don't ruin it.
I think that we're going to see, because...
I'm worried too.
I think because of the new Halloween movie, I think we're going to see a couple of studios greenlight some other slasher films
makes money.
that are going to actually feel fresh
I hope
and
you're right.
unique.
I really hope you're
I
right.
think that's going to happen sooner than we think, but I think that because of what is happening with the horror genre right now, thanks to guys like Jordan Peele, I think we're going to be seeing the smart horror movies come back in a very interesting way.
I really hope
I
you're
don't
right.
think it's going to happen quickly, but I think over the course of the next 10 years, we're going to see a new crop of classics come in that is going to
I just
give
want
us
to see
hope
original stuff.
for the genre as a whole and continue to inspire new, unique content for it.
I hope you're right.
I
So,
hope you're right. So you want to run down the list real quick?
just to put it back up there, in case you didn't see the last two times this was on screen, we came out with number 10, Friday the 13th. Number 9, Happy Death Day. Number 8, You're Next. 7 is Child's Play. 6 is Wes Craven's New Nightmares. 5th is Psycho.
Asterisk.
With an asterisk because of reasons and things.
Like Tom Brady.
Uh-huh.
Fourth place is Nightmare on Elm Street. Third place is Scream.
Too low.
Second place is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the number one horror slasher film of all time is the original Halloween.
Keeping you alive, Carpenter.
Love you, John.
Smoke one for me.
So,
A pack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that I don't know if he does. I mean, I'm sure he has, but yeah, he's still a chain smoker.
So, with that, if you at any point, obviously nobody's actually lasted this long on the live stream, but if later on the replay you actually make it start to finish on this, you are clearly our super fan. We freaking love you.
We have those?
Keep going. We'll see. I mean, this person over here.
She is a super fan. She is a super fan.
So, thank you so much. And if you are actually watching, whether you've skipped around or not, and you're here at the end of the video with us, once again, we have brand new videos that come out every Tuesday and Friday. We do live streams Saturdays or Sundays, depending on how we're feeling. And if you don't have time to watch any of our videos, you can catch the audio of any of our live streams and interviews on iTunes, Google Play, iHeart, Stitcher, and...
Why do you keep laughing when it's
I just love that word. I'm sorry. It's been a long day.
The last thing that we really should have done earlier, do not forget to like and subscribe. Facebook, like, YouTube, subscribe, and big subscribe button right here.
above Brad's junk.
There we go. It's all back to sexual chocolate again.
So,
and before we sign off, everybody, your homework is to watch all of these movies from bottom to top before Halloween night is over.
Yes, Mike. Your mission is to watch some of these movies.
I've seen all of those movies.
Yeah, the ones on the honorable mention list.
I can do that.
And Godfather 2.
I don't know if we have time for that, though.
that could be tough. And of course, for all the sports nerds out there, don't forget to go check out our buddy David over on the Last Call podcast. You guys have a regular schedule?
Yeah, usually it drops every Friday. Every Friday you can check it out. It's also on SoundCloud, iTunes, you name it, it's there. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Brad, Sexual Chocolate, Mike, Uncle Rico. It's been a pleasure.
I hate you.
Oh, that feels so good. A little left.
With that, this is Brad and Mike from Dallas Geek saying, see ya.
Everybody wait!
Oh my gosh, where's the cut? Where's the cut?
There's no cut!